He said that before when he screwed up. I think they're getting a little bored with him saying, I messed up and took another guy out of a race.
Well, but he took himself out of the race too. I mean, he said, well, I was trying to pinch him, and I pinched him.
Well, Just do it all with an all shucks.
I had to laugh when late in the race it was Chastain first and Kyle second, and I go, "Oh well, shit, Kyle will wreck him." He doesn't like him.
I have to be honest. I didn't realize they were racing yesterday because it was Mother's Day.
Isn't it amazing,
David? When I saw the tweets, I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, I was watching golf. I watched the whole basketball game. I watched every second of Philly and Boston, start to finish. Had the baseball game on before that. Watch the NDAs raise. Watch the golf. I'm watching sports on Sunday. It never dawned on me that there was a race because it was Mother's Day.
Yeah, they changed that like a handful of years ago.
I know. I
hate it. And this was a big throwback weekend for NASCAR. Like they honored their top 75 drivers, and because then they went back to Darlington. But my thing was, why didn't they race Saturday night? It used to be they wouldn't race Mother's Day weekend. Then they were racing Saturday night so that everybody could be home for Mother's Day.
This USFL kicker kicked a lot of field goals in what looks like a live scrimmage based on the fact that there's not one person in the stands.
Oh, is this two teams not from Birmingham playing in Birmingham?
I don't know where they're playing.
That's right. Bob Stoops won the XFL title. His 4-6 team got in because they were the second place team in their division, and then won 2 playoff games.
I just heard the one guy saying that dreams come true after he won it. The quarterback.
Yep, dreams come true.
The quarterback was like, "Let's win the world championship." I was like, "World?"
Hey man, that thing was on ABC Saturday night. You knew Adam was watching. Oh yeah. Saturday night. Oh, I can't go out. XFL championships on. DC and Arlington. I think that's who it was. I don't know. So I was intrigued by the golf because of the storylines. Now you had to do some research, but the storylines heading in Sunday were kind of cool. You had the one guy who that was his home course, and he's, mostly a Corn Ferry guy, and he's made it to the PGA Tour, and he can't make a cut.
Is this that Eckhart or whatever his name was?
No, I think it was the Yo guy.
Oh, okay.
Who the reason he lives there is because on the Corn Ferry Tour, most of the tournaments are in the central part of the country, and they're real easy to get to from Dallas. And so he just happened to, move near there, and that ended up being his home course. Hello, friends. Man, was that a field, huh?
Oh,
they got a good, they got a name winner, but whoo-wee.
And they had Scheffler up there. And I don't
He
like
did.
Scheffler. I don't know why, but I don't like Scheffler.
I don't dislike him, but I don't like him.
I'm the same way. It's not like I'm rooting against him, but he's just, I don't know.
He's wet cardboard. Although I will say his short game is really good.
15 seconds.
How about that 8-iron he bladed Saturday? My God, they look like a 14 handicapper.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. A belated happy Mother's Day. Hope you had a great weekend. Thanks for starting your week off with us. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. FloridaSportsNetwork.com. How was your weekend, Mark? How are the moms in your life?
Weekend was fantastic. Saturday had a birthday party to go to. That was a great day, a long, adult and kid fun day. And then Sunday, I slaved in the kitchen for my mother and my wife.
Ooh, all right. Let's lay the menu on us.
I did brunch. So the wife says, I want smoked salmon and bacon. And mom says, I want waffles and sausage. So basically, I dirtied every single pan that I own and did dishes until about 10 o'clock last night.
Can you do those two at the same time, or is that, do you have to pick one first?
No, I had everything going. Flames up to the top of the ceiling, David.
Which one's harder?
They were both relatively easy. I mean, to be really honest, it's a
Okay.
lot of pans. It's just a lot of putting together, a lot of pans, a lot of the salmon was a lot of prep work. So now it's fine.
Okay. Daughter didn't have any demands, did she? I mean, it's her house after all. She is the queen of the household. So
Not on Mother's Day, she's not.
Okay.
She may be a young lady, but she doesn't rank on Mother's Day. She was right down at the bottom of the totem pole.
Just ahead of you, right?
Ahead of me and ahead of the cats.
So she was a bronze medalist on Sunday, is what you're saying?
Yes. She wins gold the other, basically 364 days.
All right. Was the food good? I mean, be honest. Did you screw any of it up, or were you good?
No,
All right.
I did all right.
Well, no, just, you're good. You're good in the kitchen. All right. And you like it. All right. I mean, and I know we've kind of sort of talked about this before, but, if we win the proverbial lottery, you will be torn. Okay. There's most of you that will be like, I'm going to find an island. All right. We're out of here. Okay. Then there's also a part of you that's like, I wouldn't mind owning a joint.
I think it'd be a food truck. I don't even think it'd be a joint. I just want the food truck.
Oh, what did this up? You always wanted a little joint. Now we're down to a food truck.
Because if I win the lotto, I don't want to have to work. I don't want to have to open the place, if you know what I mean. You know what? Food truck's closed today.
Cheaper, and you can sell wherever you want.
So then again, you can get a food truck for your private island.
There you go.
You could make your mom and your wife have to come to the truck to get their Mother's Day
And pay. I am looking forward to the daughter getting a little bit older, though, so she can do the dishes. That would have been nice.
Is that something that the current generation is really getting away with? That, are we the last generation that had to clean the dishes? And now is it just understood? All right. It's kind of like living in Florida. What are the two things that have to come with the house? Air and a dishwasher. Everything else is negotiable. I prefer a roof. I mean, I'm just wondering, were we the last generation in which the parents could say, okay, kids, do the dishes?
Well, the daughter loads the dishwasher. She does a pretty good job of that. But anything that's, any pans, anything that's big is on me. So I don't know. I think it's a house to house thing, but they are, they're spoiled. I'm guessing Felipe never touched a dish in his life.
No, I would always load the dishwasher, and anytime I made eggs on a pan and messed up the eggs or something, I'd scrape that pan.
Your mom and grandma let you make eggs, I'm surprised that they didn't have yellow tape around the kitchen and go, no. Get out of here.
Well, no, this was like after my first year in college when I got
Oh,
home
okay.
and thought I
Gotcha.
could cook,
I
but
was
I
gonna
couldn't.
say.
But now I'm a little better. So
Yeah, I'm surprised the kitchen's not a police scene when you go home. Get away from here, kid. Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. You can go all the way back to Friday night. Great night for South Florida. Heat and Panthers both get it done. You know, when the Panthers went overtime, I didn't have the score right because both goalies were tremendous. That should have been 5-4, 6-5, and both goalies wouldn't let it get there. So when they go to overtime, and I'm thinking, no, is this going to be the greatest promo of all time? Because we both picked the Panthers, and I picked Barkov in overtime. I'm like, oh, come on, big fella. One time for me. We'd run that promo for a year. But Panthers get it done. And with Edmonton losing last night, okay, let's go invade Canada. Let's go. You can take it over. Virtually no resistance for the next 72 hours. Let's go.
None.
Just let's go.
I mean, they're the hotshot prospects coming to the States to play his hockey. Both their teams that were expected to win have lost.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Canada's ripe for the taking right now.
Totally. Don't even think we need weapons. I just think we need a group of like 8. Show up, take over Parliament, just go from there, head west. So, but congratulations. Tell you, that was a close, hard-fought, intense. It actually reminded me a little bit of, Heat Knicks from back in the day because it was an ugly game. It was a bucket. Mark, it reminded me of like a U.S. Open golf tournament where, pars were nice. Holy mackerel, a birdie. I mean, even the Heat, you had said beforehand, hey, you're going to have to win, but you're only scoring 96. It'd be like, really? Wow. Okay. This ain't going to be easy. They got it done. Miami Heat, third time in 4 years in the Final Four. It's the bubble all over again, only now we have fans.
yeah,
Felipe
the bubble
thinks
haters are really quiet right now.
Felipe.
No, they're actually not.
Good, because the bubble was real hoops, and it's showing this year.
Lakers in Denver on their side. People forget that's who the Lakers beat in the conference finals that year. Denver came back from a 3-1 deficit to beat Doc Rivers' LA Clippers.
With a healthy Paul George and Kawhi, by the way.
Yes. And then got swept, I think it was, by the Lakers.
Yeah.
And Boston and Miami took care of them. And the Lakers beat the Heat in 6. If you said to a Heat fan right now, let's do the bubble all over again, exact same results, you think they take it?
No. Bam was injured.
Okay. Do you know what a big underdog the Heat are against the Celtics? Like 6-1. You can get 6-1 on the Heat. Those are big odds for a team in the conference finals. You can win big money on the Heat if they take care of the Celtics. And of course,
It's a hell of an if.
Yeah, it is, no doubt. Well, if the guy who showed up yesterday shows up, they're not going to win. But playoff.
I'm just wanting to see one of those games of Tatum do that with Butler on the other side equaling it. I don't give a damn who wins. Let those two players go off against one. If they could do it once, it would be great. If they give it to us twice, that would be unbelievable. But give me one game where these two guys are at a high level together.
We'll get back to the Heat and the Panthers in a minute. Are you okay? Like Milwaukee fired their coach.
Right.
Best 5-year stint they've had since they had Lou Alcindor in the early 70s when they went to 2 finals in 71 and 74 and won 1. All right. Otherwise, this is their best stint in 50 years. They fired him when they got upset by the Heat. Okay, they had a bad 2 weeks. He's a bum. Get rid of him. Phoenix fired their coach late Saturday night. Best 4-year run that franchise has had in 15 years. That franchise was a joke 4 years ago. A joke. And they fired their coach. A, do you have a problem with any of that? And B, along those lines, do you think Doc Rivers then just coached his last game in Philly? We blaming Doc?
I'm not. I think they will. Losing game 6 and game 7, particularly the way game 7 went, those are the type of games that get coaches fired. David, you know that.
I know that. I'm just asking, are we okay with it? A, do we think it'll happen? And B, are we okay with it? Or are we like, these guys have lost their minds? They're like me and my buddies who do a fantasy draft, for goodness sakes.
Well, I think Doc's getting fired, and I think they've lost their minds. I think that maybe Giannis in his post-gamer was a little more, we don't like his whole speech of that we didn't fail. But man, oh man, sometimes we got to look at this from the 30,000-foot view as opposed to the last 24 hours. And you get a new owner in Phoenix
who has a confidant, who's a very mild-mannered guy, okay, doesn't like to upset the apple cart, believes in stability, just doing things the right way. Isaiah Thomas, that guy.
Right.
No chaos has ever followed him in his post-playing career in the last 30 years. I mean, certainly not when he was in charge of basketball in New York. Not a problem.
So I think they're a little bat blank crazy, but I do think Doc's getting fired.
But see, Doc, I think, deserves it more than Monty Williams and Mike Budenholzer. They went to the NBA Finals. Doc Rivers hasn't been to the conference finals since he coached in Boston, which was a long time ago.
If you are feeling badly about yourself and you need a pick-me-up, I encourage you to go online and read anything associated with Philadelphia media towards Joel Embiid and James Harden. You will feel so much better about yourself and your life than you will about those two. Oh, man. To say they're getting destroyed is an understatement.
When Philly is fed up with you, watch out.
When they decide we done with you, they're not neutral.
Hide, run.
Woo-wee. Take that MVP trophy, Joel, and I don't know, take it to Minnesota, wherever the hell. Miller and Moulton. So much to kick around from the weekend that was.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Yeah, hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, RCB, Mark and I were even texting about that. That the Rays are going to have to go get some reinforcements. Did not brown chicken. I did not. Before the game, Paul, toe was great. Yes, Coffin Boss split with the Yankees, lost 2 or 3 to the Orioles. They're 8-5 so far. They're a third of the way through this 39-game stretch.
Rasmussen's done.
Yeah, most likely, right? Or did they update that and say he was done? He throws 7 shutout innings, and the next day he goes on the 60-day IL. Ouch.
Did you watch their game yesterday at all?
Yeah.
Did you see the hit by
Closer.
Judge at the end that he thought was out?
I had a closer. Woo!
Head goes right down.
Yep.
That was funny.
RCB, they need a lot more than Taj Bradley. That bullpen's going to start getting overworked here soon. Excuse me.
We're going to get a Boston-LA final.
Mm-hmm. No, really? I'll take Denver. You know, I was thinking about this. I don't know how many people care. The Tigers have a lefty starter that most people believe he's going to opt out after this year. And so the Tigers are going to trade him. If I'm the Rays, I go get him now. Well, Empire, they're the 1 seed. So So what are we in hockey? Home teams are 5-13 in overtime. Is that where we're at? 5-13, I believe, after the Panthers won again.
Well, at least they started the game last night at a reasonable time so you could watch it.
Right.
15 seconds.
2 goals in the first minute.
3 in the first 240.
I know.
There you go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes after the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Okay, here's the good news. The Rays are 31-11. For the bad news, I present to you the IL, which is loaded with Rays pitching. We got 120 games left in this season. Rays going to be able to make it?
Man, oh man.
So they get the 7 shutout innings, 2 hit innings from who? Rasmussen on Thursday?
Mm-hmm.
And he goes on the IL the next day. They fear he may be done. And they put him on the 60-day IL, by the way. That ain't good. They didn't even pretend with the whole 10, 15 day, and then we'll eventually move you. He just said, no, this is a problem. I mean, are Rays going to be able to make it, Mark? I mean, do you start acquiring reinforcements now? Don't wait around. You know you're going to need them. That's not going to be an easy division to win, you know. I mean, no sense sacrificing 3, 5, 7 weeks. We'll wait till closer to the deadline. Oh, actually, we could use the help now.
Their pitching staff is decimated right now.
Ooh-wee. It's a good staff, too. And I think it's starting to affect them. I think the bullpen's getting overworked. They blew some leads against the Yankees. They split the 4 games. You know, they got what they absolutely had to get coming out of there. Yankees needed to win 3 out of 4. Yankees played the Rays 7 times in 9-10 days. They lost ground. That's not good. They only got 6 more games against those guys. But right now, my money. So don't feel badly if you lose it. My $20. Rays going to win the East?
Wow. I'll say yes reluctantly, but I'm not sure how.
But you're worried, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I am too.
I mean, Springs is done for the year. Don't know when or if you're going to get Rasmussen back.
You know, the guys they're going to call up have not pitched 7-month seasons. They haven't thrown the innings that, in theory, if we're going to go the distance here or contend to go to the distance, we're going to have to count on you to pitch August, September, October baseball. That's heavy innings. And either we're going to send you out there for 4 or 5 innings every time and just run a bullpen into the ground, or we're going to send you out there to pitch into the 7th and run you into the ground. By modern standards, anyway. You don't see it very often, but if I'm the Rays, I really would. There are certain teams who are already looking to unload salary. There are certain teams who already know they're going to trade so-and-so. Well, how about we get serious about doing that right now? Like we talked about, Mark, they got 26 more games. The next 26 are all against teams with a winning record. I mean, why should I wait another month? Well, let's just see how we do in the next 4 weeks and see where we're at. Well, how about you get me an arm? How about you get me an arm today?
And I think they're going to be more forward thinking. I think they're going to be along those lines. I don't know how they cannot be, David. I mean, you basically have 2 starters left on your roster.
They're good. Don't
Oh,
get me
I
wrong.
got you.
They're good, and Glasnow's coming, right?
He's coming,
So
but
we go McClanahan, Eflin, and Glasnow is around the corner. Okay.
but that means Taj Bradley's going to pitch in,
Right.
150, 160 innings.
At least. Don't know if that's what you wanted. And don't know if he can be counted on. Maybe he'll be fine until mid-August. Orioles don't look like they're a fluke. Toronto's definitely not a fluke. Never mind the 2 big boys. If they ever get it together. Occasionally they make deals, spend money. This could happen again.
But
So,
I'm being aggressive if I'm Tampa.
and we know that's not their modus, operandi. The last 15 years, ever since they got good, going back to 2008, I don't ever remember them making an early season move. They made deals at the deadline. They made a deal for Nelson Cruz a couple years ago. They thought they had a really good team. They needed one more righty bat. Cruz didn't really deliver. They gave up a nice prospect. Okay, a pitcher, ironically, they could probably use now. But still, they're 4 up on the Orioles. The Blue Jays just swept the Braves. To let everybody know, we're pretty good. Just so you know, we are pretty good. And over the long haul, we're a problem. And we've got money. We can make deals. I mean, if you're the Jays right now, you're looking at the Orioles, who aren't spending any money, and the Rays, who never spend any money, and you're thinking to yourself, well, damn, I know they're really good, but they're both really cheap. I mean, we can outmaneuver these guys going forward, can't we?
Well, didn't Toronto already get Tampa 2 or 3 the last time they played? So I don't think they're that worried about Tampa right now.
So just throwing that out there. If you're a Rays fan, playing general manager, I'm buying. Miller and Moulton are buying. It's our money. You spending it? What if we tell you we're only going to loan you the money till Memorial Day? After that, it's like, nah, fine, be stubborn. Be that way. No, yeah, okay. Yeah, no interest loans good till, like the end of May.
What are you, a furniture store offering 6 months same as cash?
For a limited time and a limited time only. You could go home with this right now. Put it in the back of your car. No money down. I can get you a starter and an arm for the bullpen. But you've got to be willing to make a deal right now. Just listen, we have some crazy ideas on this show. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
I think first they may look at some veteran arms that are available without having to trade to see if there's somebody they can bring in that's out there. The Bumgardners, do you bring him around to see if he can throw?
The Zach Greinke, Ian Kennedys of the world, who may be done, but maybe have 3 good months left in them. Okay. All right.
I could see that happening as well.
What about Bumgardner? You bring him in?
I would.
Give him a couple of AAA rehab starts, build your arm strength back up again. You haven't done anything for a couple of weeks. All right, let's go. Need you, Mad Bum. Twice through the lineup, big fella.
Yeah, you're no longer a 1. You're a 5 here.
Right. 4 innings. That's all we're looking for. Twice through the lineup.
We have this thing. It's called an opener.
That's all.
So the Rays on top of the division, but battered and bruised already.
Whew.
And in need of arms. And we'll see if they make any early moves or if they think they can just keep on keeping on with what's out there.
I'd go get some pitching. And I wouldn't be afraid to go get some bullpen either. That bullpen last week and a half. Starting to show some signs. Getting a little nervous.
Miller and Moulton. Text lines open at 21,000 for your thoughts. The starting five coming up on the other side. Thank you very much for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Napa Auto Parts and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Are we on, the way we normally are, the app and what have you? I got people telling me the way they normally listen, they can't.
I don't know. Are we on the app?
We should be. Let me check.
So we're on the app. Okay. So I thought they were going to be a bunch of small empanadas. They were 2 really big ones. It was pretty good.
What meat did it have inside?
You could get them beef or chicken.
Nice.
I went with beef.
You know, there's some places they make spinach empanadas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really good.
Awful.
I like spinach. Like spinach artichoke dip. Stuff.
Well, that's full of cheese. There's really, I mean, do you really taste spinach and spinach artichoke dip, or do you taste the cheese that's in there? And the mayonnaise and all the other crap that's in there?
Yeah, true.
GC, we didn't say the division was over if they played 500 baseball. We said they'd make the playoffs if they played 500 baseball. Because if they play 500 baseball the rest of the way, they win 91. But we thought if they stayed healthy, the division was over. And since then, 2 starters have gone on the IL. All Ambien. They got one of the 3 deepest farm systems in baseball. And while they're at it, they can go look for a second baseman. Because what's he hitting? $180? I don't know what Cash is still doing, batting them in the middle of the lineup.
$10 seconds. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Rashad Phillips, eventful times in the NBA. Plus, he's written a book. So, I want to hear what that's all about. Ask him a few questions about the association. Heat in the Final Four. Wasn't pretty. They got it done. Playoff Jimmy and the boys took out the Knicks in 6. Panthers took out the Leafs in 5. Hot damn. Of course, we don't know when that Panthers Hurricane series is going to start yet. My money's on Wednesday, but whatever. Time now for
The Starting 5. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Rays get out of the Bronx with a split. They Oreo cookied them, Mark. Took the first and the last. In the middle, a lot of drama. 8-7 Rays. Hold off the Yankees. Taylor Walls with a slam and a 5-run fifth. Tampa Bay's 31-11. 500 baseball the rest of the way. They win 91. Not going to be enough to win the East, but be enough to make the playoffs. Let me ask you this, Mark. Let's just say the Rays play 500 ball the rest of the way. The Yankees catch them?
No,
So you don't think the Yankees are going to finish with 92 wins?
I don't.
Okay. All right.
I haven't deviated on that from the start of the season. I did not think that they were. I thought they were a third-place team in the division at best.
Well, hell. 91 wins may be a third-place team in the division.
Could be.
Marlins avoided the sweep. They beat the Reds 3-1. They're a game below 500. We're basically at the quarter pole in Major League Baseball. Teams have played 40, 41, 42, something like that. We're at the quarter pole. Pirates shut out the Orioles 4-0. Mitch Keller. He's emerging as their best pitcher. 7 innings, 13 strikeouts. The Blue Jays swept the Braves. That's not easy to do. Scored 2 in the ninth for the 6-5 win. And the Cardinals swept the Red Sox. If St. Louis turns their season around, it'll be Mother's Day weekend in Boston that was the turning point. They trailed Friday and Saturday heading to the ninth in both games, where they had been 0-20 on the season when trailing going to the ninth. And they beat Kenley Jansen both times. He ruined a beautiful performance by Sale on Saturday. A 3-hitter through 8. Best performance in 4 years. Through 113 pitches. Looked really good. St. Louis 9-1 over the Red Sox. Mets and Nats split a twin bill. Washington winning the first 3-2. Mets the nightcap 8-2. Scherzer only pitched 5 innings. Looked pretty good getting the win in the nightcap. Detroit avoided the sweep against Seattle 5-3. Mark, 3 nights in a row, Josh Naylor hit home runs in the 8th inning for the Guardians to give them the lead. Now, Friday night, the bullpen blew it. But Saturday and Sunday, the bullpen held on. How about that? 3 nights in a row in the bottom of the 8th, the same guy. He had a 3-run homer yesterday to lead him to a 4-3 win over the Angels. That's nuts.
Thank God they couldn't pick who hit in those situations so they could leave him back up there.
Right. The Twins scored 7 in the 3rd and then said, how about we do it again in the 8th? So you start doing the math. Scored 16 runs against the Cubs, 16-3. Houston's won 4 of 5. They beat the White Sox 4-3. Milwaukee swept KC 9-6. Hey, did you see what Bryce Harper did? He took on the whole Colorado Rockies team.
Certainly tried.
He didn't charge the mound. He charged the dugout. I've always loved him. I just have. I want him on my team. I know. He strikes out too much sometimes, and maybe he's not all the hype but I'll take him. And in the playoffs last year, he was amazing. Colorado won 4-0. Texas scored 8 in the 8th. It was a tie game. 8 in the 8th to beat Oakland 11-3. The A's are 9-33. Mother's Day crowd at Oakland. Mark, care to take a guess?
Oh, boy. Let's go 82-57.
Lower.
Wow.
We thank you. 77-93. Get home safely. Happy Mother's Day. Dodgers swept the Padres. They won 5 in a row, 4-0. Arizona scored in the 9th to beat San Francisco 2-1. There was a game 7 in Boston yesterday. Somebody forgot to tell the Sixers. Or maybe this is all they have. At which point they need a plan B. Jason Tatum was pretty good. And by pretty good, we mean he scored 51. He scored 17 in the 3rd. The Sixers only scored 10 by themselves. What was a 3-point game at the half was a 26-point game going to the 4th. And, we can all start debating between Doc Rivers, Joel Embiid, and James Harden how many of them return to the city of brotherly love in the fall.
As of right now, none of them are wanted back by the city of brotherly love.
No, they are not, including the big fella.
David, we got this text. I mean, the anger is real. Fire Doc, trade Embiid, trade Harden, blow it up. This is pathetic. Thank God I have my Eagles to look forward to. Not that they're taking this hard or anything, David.
No. Remember, Friday night, they had a late 4th quarter lead to go to the conference finals. 48 hours later, they're all bums. Get rid of all of them. All right. They can get rid of Harden. They can. First off, he may get rid of himself, but they can get rid of Harden. But remember, this is the GM who loves him. This is the GM who brought him to Houston, and then the GM who obviously brought him to Philly. Now, he's not the guy who hired Doc Rivers. So, we could all see Morey moving away from Doc. Can we just take 30 seconds, Mark? What's the I'm Embiid. You're the Sixers. What are you saying to me?
Well, I don't know who the free agents are that they could get, but I would get rid of Harden and get somebody to replace him with. I wouldn't want out.
Okay, but see, I think they need to have a really difficult conversation with Embiid. And go, I know you just won the MVP, but you're winning the MVP playing 60 games a year. And quite frankly, you're not in good enough shape. Do you know what the Celtics did in the last 2 games of the series? They just ball screened you and ran you into the ground and you wore down. You're always hurt and you're out of shape. And either you get in shape or I'll trade you. That's kind of where I am. It's already difficult to win through the center position in the modern NBA. We'll see if Denver can do it. But don't you think Philly's got to have a really difficult conversation with Embiid going, dude, you're either always out of shape or hurt. Okay? I'm sorry, but we need you to be the best player on the floor. And too many times you're either not on the floor or you're not. You think that's an out-of-line conversation to have if you're the Sixers with Embiid?
I don't think it's out of line. I think it's fascinating because between he gets hurt, so it's hard to be in shape. Takes days off. You may be asking the impossible.
Maybe, which then begs the question whether or not, the process has gone as far as it can go and you need to start all over again. Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals is Tuesday. It's the Lakers and the Nuggets, by the way. And since we last talked, not only had Denver blown out Phoenix, but the Suns fired their coach. Denver's a 5.5-point favorite Tuesday night. Heat and Celtics are going to be Wednesday night TNT. Celtics are huge favorites in this series and 7.5-point favorites in game 1. I am taking the Heat and the 7.5 right now in game 1. Jimmy Butler and 7.5. I'll take it every game. What are you doing about Ja Morant if you're the NBA? By the way, if you didn't hear, remember Ja got in trouble, the gun video. Yeah, he did it again. Saturday night, Sunday morning. He's in a car showing off with a gun, and he's broadcasting it on Instagram Live. The Grizzlies have suspended him from all team activities. But if you're Adam Silver,
considering they won't really have a team activity until October, right. I don't know what big deal the suspension is.
It's a very difficult. I think it means they won't pay for him to go to Vegas and watch the Summer League team. So, now, if you're Adam Silver, how many games here? Because I'm doing 50.
That was my initial thought. That was the first number that popped in my head, and I was backing off of it because it's way past half a season. I would say 25 games, David.
Okay. Heard Aminal Hassan on NBA radio yesterday say, this is when I wish for David Stern. He goes, because Stern would suspend him for the year and make the kid claw it back in arbitration, and he wouldn't care. Hockey. Jonathan Marchessault had a natural hat trick last night. That's when you score all 3 goals and you score them in a period. He did it in the second. Vegas advances past Edmonton 5-2. They win in 6. Canada's Stanley Cup drought is now officially 30 years. The 93 Canadians, still the last team north of the border to dance with Lord Stanley. Game 7 tonight in Dallas. The Kraken and the Stars. Winner to face Vegas in the Western Finals. No date set yet for Florida, Carolina. Most people feel it'll be Wednesday. Game 1. which would likely be Wednesday, Friday in Raleigh, Sunday, Tuesday at Sunrise.
The two hockey meccas that are Raleigh, North Carolina, and Sunrise, Florida, getting after it.
Jason Day shot a 62 in the final round to win the Byron Nelson, his first win in 5 years. Dustin Johnson wins on the LIV Tour in a three-way playoff with Cam Smith and Brandon Grace. I will say the big names are starting to play well. Bryson DeChambeau and Brooks Koepka tied for 5th. Harold Varner III was 4th. PGA Tours in Oak Hill in Rochester, New York this week. Jin Young Ko won the Founders Cup on the LPGA Tour in a playoff with Minjee Lee. NASCAR, William Byron won in overtime at the track that's too tough to tame, Darlington. He edged Kevin Harvick. Chase Elliott third, his best finish since coming back from getting hurt. Ross Chastain and Kyle Larson were the two best cars on the track, and then Ross wrecked them both. He said, I tried to pinch Kyle Larson in turn 2 up against the wall. Yeah, he wrecked them both. Ross finished 29th. He still is the lead in the points. Doyle Brunson, 10-time World Series of Poker champion, 2 times from the main table. Both times that he won that big event, he won it when he was dealt in the final hand a 10 and a 2. And that's why a 10 and a 2 is called the Brunson. Doyle was 89. College softball, Oklahoma's 51-1. Heading to the NCAA tournament as the number 1 seed. Florida State's the 3rd overall seed. The SEC mark did not get every team in this year. Only 12 of the 14. And, of course, Oklahoma and Texas are both seeded, so beginning next year, that'd be 14 out of 16. Just thought it was worth mentioning. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, Oklahoma softball is like UConn women's basketball in their heyday right now. They've got it going on.
They've won back-to-back national championships. They lost one game this year at Baylor 4-3. That's pretty remarkable. I mean, you play 3+ months worth of softball, 4 or 5 games a week, 51-1.
Their pitching
Damn.
has pitching.
Wow. The Rays should probably call them looking for an arm or two. You get the idea.
We are advocating for the Rays to be calling for arms right now, if you cannot tell.
Yes.
We understand they're in first place. We understand they're 20 games above 500. We also understand that they've lost 2 starting pitchers. They've lost a couple of bullpen arms already, and they are in need of help on the mound. They just are.
Right. Yeah. We don't want them to, play a month of 500 baseball. We're like, no, make the moves now. Win this division. Have the best record in the American League. Be ready to go.
Miller and Moulton. We'll talk basketball in the 8 o'clock hour with Rashad Phillips. Thanks so much for listening right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Hell, even his friend tried to turn the camera away. Isn't it crazy how one frame or 2 or 3 frames of a cell phone video
Why
could cost you millions
does he
of
have
dollars.
no. A cell phone video has nothing to do with costing him millions of dollars. John Morant having a gun.
No, I know.
No. You didn't, because you said just the opposite.
But
he knew not to have a gun. He'd already been suspended, so he's going to wave a gun around.
If the camera wasn't pointed to him, no one would have known he had a gun. Therefore, he wouldn't have gotten in trouble.
So it's the camera person's fault.
No, I'm not saying it's that.
No, it just sounded like it.
I just said that even the friend, like, noticed he pulled out the gun and was like, "Oh, I need to stop pointing my camera at him. What is he doing?" Yeah, he's a dummy. Why would you do that? Come on now. I'm coming back.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour number 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Monday. Hope you had a great Mother's Day weekend. A belated happy Mother's Day to those that are listening. And thanks so much for all that you do for your families. And thanks for listening to us, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. I don't usually do this, play devil's advocate just to play devil's advocate, but I'm going to ask you a series of questions, playing devil's advocate, and Mark, answer them accordingly.
Okay.
You ready?
Sure.
What did John Morant do wrong?
He had a gun. I think he's been told not to be carrying guns.
Per the NBA's collective bargaining agreement, players are banned from possessing firearms or similar deadly weapons when present at a team or NBA facility or traveling on an NBA-related business, aka a road trip. So what did John Morant do wrong?
David, he had a gun. Obviously, they have problems with him having guns. I don't know if in his last suspension he was told not to be around firearms at all. That would be the one question I don't know the answer to.
Now, right. I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate here. I don't know that Adam Silver has the power to say you can't possess a gun, period. That would seem to be a constitutional matter that I don't think the NBA collective bargaining agreement overrides, would be my guess. I think he's got all the power in the world to say, anything remotely related to a team function. Yeah, I own you. But I mean, John Morant's, as best we know, is driving in a car with a buddy of his with a legal firearm. Now, don't get me wrong. I think it's an awful look. If I'm the Memphis Grizzlies, I'm scared to death. My franchise player, I think, is a thug, and I don't know if I can rehabilitate him. And oh, by the way, quick sidebar, he did not make an all-NBA team in the voting last week. That cost him $40 million. So we can easily argue that him toting around that gun at the strip club in Denver 10 weeks ago, that cost him $40 million. But John Morant makes at least third team All-NBA if he doesn't get suspended for the 8-10 games and he's wielding that gun. We all agree with that, right? I mean, that's $40 million. And now here he is wielding a gun again. But if I ask you, you're Adam Silver, I'm his attorney, and Silver brings me in and is reading me the riot act about my client. And I look right at him and go, could you tell me what he did wrong again? I mean, nobody's claiming it's an illegal firearm. He was not on team time or team property. He did not break the law. Now, if I'm the Grizzlies, I want nothing to do with him anymore, and I don't know how I'm going to get out of this mess. But that's where I stand. But there is a part of me, that just wonders. It's not the public stance to take. He'll get crushed. But behind the scenes, couldn't he go, tell me what I did wrong again?
Yeah, and I just don't know what agreements, if any, they made with the last suspension. If he was told you're around a gun again, you're getting suspended for this. That's what we don't know.
Okay, make one assumption for me that Silver, if you're an NBA player, Adam Silver can do anything he wants with you if what it is that you did wrong involves anything having to do with the NBA. But if it's on your own time, like, for example, in the last 10, 12 years, there have been guys suspended anywhere from 4 to 10 games, but they all pled guilty to an off-the-court, if you will, gun violation. Like somebody fired a gun somewhere where they shouldn't have. They got 7 games. One guy pled guilty to a gun violation. He got 4. But there have been 4 players in the last 12 years, Mark, get suspended between 4 and 10 games for illegally possessing or firing a gun away from the NBA, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So if Ja doesn't face any charges for this, which I
don't know how he could.
Right. So therefore, if you're the NBA, what can you do? Now, we know what David Stern would do. He'd suspend him for the year and say, beat me in court, because that's how Stern operated. But this is Adam Silver.
Yeah, he's the players commissioner.
He calls up LeBron every morning and goes, what do you want me to do today, sir? I was thinking of going to the movies with my kids. Is that okay? But even, the commissioner's got to work within the grounds of the collective bargaining agreement. This could be a gray area.
And if it is, do you think nothing happens, or do you still think he gets suspended?
Well, to me, it's all or nothing. That first off, if Silver's going to suspend him, you have to try to drop some kind of hammer and look as, this is completely disgusting, and we're sick of this, and okay, and we gave him a second chance. We all know what they'd say. But then again, if I walk in and wield, and listen, if you're the Players Association, by the way, you got to stick up for him. That's what being the head of a union is. You got to look in and go, yeah, I know it looks messy and it sounds messy. Could you show me the paragraph where it says you can do anything to him? I'll order lunch if that's okay, because this could take a while. In fact, I highlighted the areas that deals with off-the-court discipline to just, cut the wait time down. Is this chair taken? Can I put my feet up? I'm serious. If I'm running the NBA Players Association here, I'm going, listen, don't get me wrong. I don't want to publicly defend what he's doing, because I think he's, taking his life down a path that is not going to end well. But what did he do wrong again? Now, I'd never say that out loud if I was the Players Association, but I would say it behind closed doors, because that's what I got to do. This could be a pickle for Adam Silver. It wouldn't be for David Stern. We all know that. Those of us of a certain age that remember David Stern, David Stern would suspend him for the rest of his adult life and just say, go to arbitration. I don't care.
And those are the type of suspensions that are being thrown out there by writers. Okay, is he going to get suspended for a year?
But am I off base here? Am I looking at this possibly the wrong way? Am I wrong?
I don't think so.
If I'm not wrong, isn't Silver in a bad spot?
Now, Memphis can, I guess, do whatever they want to do.
Which, once again, though, it's just, you made the point. I don't know if you said it on air during a commercial break, because I was laughing too hard to remember when it was. But to suspend him for team activities, well, they got bounced in the first round of the playoffs. Camp doesn't open for another 4 months. Wow.
You really hit him with the hammer. Memphis.
You guys. Well,
In fact, the opposite have been said, not suspended. We need him in the facility every day. I want to check on him every day.
I know. I want to put an ankle bracelet around him, for goodness sakes. But what if Silver calls up the Grizzlies and go, well, I can't suspend him. Well, then how the heck can the Grizzlies?
Doesn't there have to be something in the contract to conduct detrimental to the team? Isn't there a morals clause, an ethics clause? Isn't there something that the team has?
What did he do that would violate the moral/ethics clause of the contract? If we assume that handgun is legal, and let me tell you, these days in America, it's tough to have an illegally purchased handgun. It just is. So let's just go out on a limb and say that that gun is legal. Because I'm guessing if it was illegal, that it would have been taken from him 10 weeks ago. Maybe when I got a new one. I don't know. But just for the sake of argument, let's assume the gun is legal. What can they do to him again?
David, it's in the gray area of the contract. And that's what I don't know. I don't know what type of morals, ethics clause, don't know what they may have added after this last incident. What do they have in their back pocket, if you know what I mean?
Remember, the last incident could be argued, and it was successfully, that he was at a team function. Of course, it was him and the guys at a strip club, but they were on the road to play the Nuggets. So it was all, why were you there? Because you're playing in the NBA, a road trip. And so it's like, okay, you fall under our umbrella now. We can discipline you. Mark, if you don't break the law, what can the team or the league do to you during the, quote, off season? Help me out here. I want to throw the book at him. I'm thinking this guy is going to ruin my franchise, and this could end tragically for him and others. But I don't know.
What you're saying is that the guy that looks like a pickle could be in a pickle right now.
Yes. I'm going to throw the book at him. What book is that? Because the books I read said you can't do a damn thing. Well, what do you mean? Well, just show me where it says you can discipline him. Well, he had a gun. It's a legal firearm. He's an adult. He's of legal age. He's allowed to, especially in the state he was driving around in. He's very much allowed to drive around with that gun. Was he firing it? No. Okay. He wasn't on the team grounds, was he? Was he with a teammate? No, he's with his childhood buddy. Okay, Commissioner. Sorry to ask this question. Where in the collective bargaining agreement does it say you can discipline him? I'm going to go get some lunch. You want anything?
This is a take you won't hear much of today because everybody is going to suspend him for a year. They're done with them and they're moving on. But this could be a very sticky situation for the NBA. We'll see how it all plays out. Miller and Moulton. Text line open at 21,000, taking your thoughts there right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Ambien, we've had him on. Been a long time since we've had Rashad on. Used to come on quite a bit. We probably haven't had Rashad on in a couple of years, or at least a year.
Ten seconds. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes after the hour, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Hats off to the Heat and the Panthers Friday night. They both wrapped up their second round playoff series. Heat in 6 at home, Panthers in 5 on the road in overtime. Carolina, Florida, Eastern Finals in hockey. Hasn't been announced the schedule yet. Likely game 1 Wednesday, maybe Thursday, but Wednesday. Why are they waiting so long? Well, the Western Finals aren't set yet. They want the two series to run side by side. One night, one the next, etc. Especially since their two major broadcast partners, ESPN and Turner, they're both dealing with basketball. So they got to get it in sync, where one night's doing hockey and on the next night they're doing basketball, etc. So I think game 1's going to be Wednesday. We'll see. As for the Heat, game 1 of their Eastern Finals against the Celtics will be Wednesday. TNT, they're big dogs. 6-1 underdogs to win the series. 7.5-point underdogs in game 1.
How far off do you think those odds are in that series?
Let me ask you the question. Which Heat am I getting? Am I getting the Heat against the Bucks or the Heat against the Knicks? All right. Disheartening for a Knicks fan, besides losing, was the fact that by the end of that series, the Knicks were slowing the Heat down. The Heat shot like 31% from beyond the arc in that series. They shot 46% from beyond the arc against Milwaukee.
I think the odds are you're going to get the team that played the Knicks because Milwaukee didn't play defense.
Okay.
I mean, that was what we found. We talked about that heading into that series, David, that the Milwaukee Bucks defensively were not good the last month of the season, and that continued on in the Miami Heat series. The Heat shot the ball incredibly well. They did not shoot it with the same efficiency against the Knicks. They got through the series, obviously, but their shooting wasn't nearly as good because the Knicks' defense was a hell of a lot better.
Now, let me ask you this, and you and I are not exactly, X's and O's savants here when it comes to basketball, but the Celtics finally settled on their best lineup, the lineup that people all year have been saying they need to play, which is Horford and Williams on the court at the same time, letting Brown and Tatum run around and do their thing. Let the two big guys defend the paint. Well, is that going to be the best defense against the Heat? Or will the Heat just space shooters on the outside? And is that too big of a lineup to defend Miami is what I'm asking, which is what did Milwaukee in. Milwaukee had a big, slower lineup. The Heat spread them out and shot threes. They hit them. They blew them out in 5. I mean, that's what I'm wondering. The best lineup for the Sixers, Mark, which, the last 2 games totally shut them down. That may not be the best lineup for the Heat. The Heat are smaller and quicker. Now, Boston should destroy Miami on the glass if they go with that lineup. Destroy them. But then again, somehow the Heat held their own against the Knicks on the glass too. And if you looked on paper, that shouldn't have happened.
Right, and that lineup worked so well because 90% of Philly's entire offense is give Joel Embiid the ball.
Right.
And they suffocated him.
Exactly. Whereas the Celtics offense is generated from the perimeter and what have you. So it'll be interesting. The chess match, nobody's better at it than Spo. I mean, listen, if Missoula was getting outcoached by Doc Rivers, how badly do you think he's going to get outcoached by Spo? But now it's just a matter of, does Spo have enough horses in the barn? He's got one for sure.
It's a badass horse.
It really is.
I mean, we all want one of those. The problem is that they've got a couple on the other side too. This Tatum guy's pretty good.
Right. And if by chance it's even between Tatum and Butler, well, that's edge Boston, isn't it?
Huge.
Right.
Huge.
Although by the end of the Knicks Heat series, Jalen Brunson was every bit as good as Jimmy Butler. And the Heat still won.
But they didn't have much to go with. Their good players didn't play well with Brunson.
No, not enough. They really only did it in game 5.
And I go back to what I've been talking about throughout the playoffs. You keep getting Bam Adebayo to shoot 60% from the floor and start chirping in his 23 points, they're a really tough out.
Mm-hmm. But can he do that against Boston? It's one thing doing it against Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle. It's another thing doing it against Robert Williams and Al Horford in the playoffs. I mean, they shut Embiid down.
I know.
You don't think they can shut Bam down?
I think there's a huge edge for Boston in this series. Huge. I think the odds are exactly right.
And I hate to sound cliche-ish here, but I really think that the Heat have to win this shooting the 3 ball. Which, by the way, is how Atlanta gave Boston a first-round series. Atlanta was not good at shooting the 3, and Quinn Snyder said, yeah, we did the analytics. We can't beat them in the half court. We can't beat them within 15 feet of the basket. Our only shot is to just, miss them, make them. And, they nearly forced a game 7. They had a great player in, Trey, who got hot a couple times, and they nearly forced a 7-game series. And I think that's the series, Mark, for what it's worth. I think the Heat have to shoot it the way they did against Milwaukee.
I think this will be the first time we'll really see where a Tyler Hero is missed. I think they need all of their scoring, and I just don't think against Boston, who routinely can get to 120, I just wonder if the Heat have enough offense in this series.
Who are they going to put on Tatum? I mean, you're not going to make Jimmy work that hard. Not the first 3 quarters, right? You may put Jimmy on him in the 4th, but who are you going to put on Tatum the first 3 quarters? If I'm Spo, you just look around the room. I'm open to suggestions. I mean, hey, listen, they were 4 minutes away from getting eliminated. He made 1 shot for 3.5 quarters Friday night in Philly.
Between Brown and Tatum, whichever one is playing better, just throw Jimmy on them.
Well, but
that's a lot of work for a series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
42 minutes a night. I got to guard one of those 2 guys. Now he probably does. They probably can't get around it. But I just don't. My guess is he guards Brown early and he guards Tatum late.
Tough task for this team that's already banged up to now try to get it done against Boston. Time now for our Clutch Vodka play of the day. That's Clutch with a K. Felipe, what do you have for us today?
Well, speaking of Jason Tatum, the Celtics had a 3-point lead at halftime, and Jason Tatum went nuclear in that second half, scoring 51 points in the game.
Tatum pulls up for 3. Got it again! 38 points for Jason Tatum. He stands at midcourt, waving his right hand up and down, getting the crowd to their feet as well. Tatum straight on triple. He got it again! Jason Tatum with 42. Tatum top of the key, chased by Embiid, going to the basket, right side, lays it up and in. Jason Tatum's got 44. Tatum in the right side corner, guarded by Embiid. A 3 is good. Jason Tatum holds up 5 with the right and a fist with the left. He's got 51 points.
51 points, breaking a record that lasted only 2 weeks by Steph Curry when he scored 50 in Game 7 of that first-round series against Sacramento. They go on to face the Heat in the conference finals. 3rd time in 4 years. Boy, the Heat really, really are hoping that Tatum does not keep up that kind of play in the conference finals, or else it's going to be a tough time in Miami. Mike Cousins, ESPN Radio, on the call.
Clutch Vodka play of the day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Felipe had the choice was, do you go back to Sunday or do you go back to Friday? He could have you go back to Friday, it's the Panthers in overtime. Okay, if you're going back a day, you got to do Tatum and the Celtics.
Well, the Panthers were clutch with the K, that's for sure.
Whew. They haven't lost in overtime, have they?
No.
When it's your year, baby. When it's your year. When the Canadians won the Cup in 93, didn't they win 10 overtime games that year? Out of their 16 wins, I think 10 of them were in overtime. When it's your year, baby.
And after, letting Toronto back in that game on Friday night, Toronto started dominating. When the overtime started, it flipped again. Florida owned the overtime.
So the conference finals are set in the NBA, and 3 out of the 4 set in the NHL. And a lot of off-the-court stuff to talk about. Whew. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for waking up with us, Florida Sports Network.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Who has the best odds for the lottery?
In the NBA?
Yeah.
Houston, I think. Isn't the NBA lottery this week?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
The Wembanyama Bowl. By the way, this year's draft class is going to be very good.
Yes. Well, the Lakers and Heat have both done the same thing. They both have won game 1 on the road and held serve at home. And then the Heat, for good measure, won game 5 on the road in Milwaukee. So be curious to see if they both can win game 1 again. Amby, you sure about Orlando? You sure it's not Detroit?
Can't be Orlando.
I mean, I think Detroit and Indiana have better odds than Orlando, don't they?
The Pistons had the worst record in basketball this year.
Worse than Houston?
Yeah, they had 17 wins on the season. The Spurs and the Rockets each had 22.
Oh, congratulations, Detroit.
Man, I hope they get him because they get Cade Cunningham. I've had the whole year off, and Ivy. That's
a hell of a trio.
That's
right
a nice
there.
young big three. I mean,
we're coming back.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 minutes till the top of the hour. Rashad Phillips, an hour from now. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. An hour ago, we do the starting 5, try to get you update on, everything that went on yesterday in the world of sports. But, there's stuff that happened going back to Friday night that we don't necessarily get to. Here's a little nugget for you, Mark. Talking a little football here. Did you see who the Dolphins signed over the weekend?
Yeah, the tackle there played with the Patriots, Isaiah Wynn, right? Yeah.
Former first-round pick. Yeah, that's an interesting signing. Is he a bust, or was he just a bad fit in New England? Remember, they don't have their longtime legendary line coach anymore. He didn't really get to work with him. Their offense has been a bit of a mess the last 3 years. Wynn apparently chose the Dolphins. He had other offers, and he chose Miami. If the line's no good, it's not because they don't have enough high draft picks on it, for goodness sakes. Their own and others. I mean, they just picked the wrong guys if it doesn't work out. But Wynn's on a 1-year deal. The Dolphins didn't pick up the 5th-year option on Jackson, the USC tackle from a few years ago. I mean, these guys are all in, I got to prove it or else situations.
Great opportunity for the team to have guys that are in those put up or shut up type deals.
Right. So I'll be curious. McDaniel says he's going to run the ball a little bit more. That would be good. They didn't have a problem run blocking last year. Take a look at the Dolphins' yards per carry last year. It was over 4.5. So, who knows? He could not even make the team. He could be a nice depth piece, nice swing tackle. Could be a starter for all we know. I just thought it was worth mentioning.
And I'm with you wherever he ends. If he ends up on the team, it's a plus.
Yeah.
Because the line needs help. And they went and got someone who, granted, has not done well, but was highly thought of at one point. Can he be rehabilitated?
And take it for what it's worth. Late last week, we went through SEC, ACC, over-under win totals. what came out late Friday, DraftKings over under Big Ten. Where do you think Michigan and Ohio State's over unders are? Remember, Georgia was 11.5. Bama was 10.5. Michigan and Ohio State are tied, Mark. What do you think the number is?
11.5.
Lower.
10.5, huh?
They went 10.5. Penn State 9.5, which is interesting. I don't have Penn State's non-conference in front of me. We obviously know those three schools all have to play each other. But what would be interesting is even if Penn State's a slight dog against both Michigan and Ohio State, I don't think they're going to be an underdog in any other game they play. So should James Franklin and company, at the very least, put a 10 spot on the board this year?
Really going after it this year, Penn State. They open with West Virginia.
Okay.
Then their non-conference games after that are Delaware,
right,
UMass, Delaware and UMass.
And then West Virginia.
Yeah.
Got to say, though, for those, if you're in that part of the country and you have any ties to, that's a really good game. That's a really good game. You know, West Virginia should play Pitt every year, and they should play Penn State as often as possible. That's a good game.
Nittany Lions getting Michigan at home, travel to Ohio State.
Remember, Ohio State not only has Michigan and Penn State, but they're at Notre Dame late September. Okay. Besides the big three, who's got the most juice in the Big Ten this year in terms of over-unders?
Wow.
There's only one school besides the big three that has an over-under higher than 7.5.
Iowa?
No. Iowa's 7.5.
Bucky Badger?
Uh-huh. Looking for a bounce back year. New coach.
New heated field. That's worth a half a game all by itself.
I don't think it's ready for this year, but just the announcement.
Work with me.
There you go. Got to be worth a half a game just in and of itself. By the way, speaking of heated fields, I've had my car for, 4 years, maybe 5. Apparently, I've got heated seats.
Are you telling me you just found that out?
By accident.
So you turned it on, didn't realize it was on.
Had no idea.
And all of a sudden your arse was a little hot.
I'm not only is it like, man, it feels a little warm down there, but I am sweating bullets. And I got the windows up and the AC on. Usually I just have it on level 1. I bump it up to level 2. I'm like, man, what am I going through? Menopause? I am having a hot flash here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think I drove around for 2 days until I finally said, wait a minute. This seat is too warm for me not to have. You know what did it, Mark? Friday night, driving back from the college baseball game, and I was enraptured with the Toronto Maple Leafs home radio call, and so I just drove around for an hour listening to it.
True story. I get a text from David Friday night. And we, just to review, we do not text one another.
No, by noon on Friday, we're done with each other. I'll see you Monday. Yeah.
8:49. They are carrying the Leafs radio broadcast on NHL radio. This is Homer radio at its best worst. Wow. And we go back and forth because it was right when the goal was disallowed.
Correct. Toronto tied it at 2, only they took the goal off the board. They're throwing stuff on the ice. The Leafs announcers are yelling, the whole league's conspiring against us.
In fact, the quote was, for the love of God, can we catch a break here?
Yep.
And I said to you, I might not leave the car, to which you responded, I've been driving around Jacksonville for over 20 minutes right now.
I drove around for over an hour. I listened to the last half of the second period and the whole third and the intermission. The radio analyst for the Leafs quoted Coldplay at one point. Quoted a verse from Coldplay about, the struggle and what have you.
As you're as you're driving around Jacksonville with a toasted tookus.
Right. And I'm sweating bullets. And I'm like, this isn't even my team. Why am I sweating so much? And then finally I said, something must be on here. I look around, and finally down by the gear shifter there, I'm like, why are those 3 lights lit up? Could that possibly be?
Good news is it works.
Yeah, it sure does. It sure does.
Use that about as much as you use your oven. Last time you used your oven, you started the house on fire.
Yeah, since moving to Jacksonville, I've used my seat heater more than we've used the oven. Wisconsin's over-under's 9. Nebraska's 6. Okay, right there. Are they going to have a winning season, yay or nay? By the way, your Spartans only 5.5.
That sounds about right.
So, just throwing that
Lucky
out there.
Badger is 9?
I know.
Well, they always play that tough non-conference schedule.
Right, yeah.
Buffalo at Washington State, Georgia Southern.
Well, every now and then they'll play a tough one, though. Usually, though, they make them come to them.
But they do have the Buckeyes on the other side. Other than that, not a whole lot of difficulty. They get Iowa at home.
So there you go. Just thought I'd throw that out there. We did SEC, we did ACC. All right, the Pac-12 I know came out last week also. I think we did the Big 12 when they announced it. They were first. Texas the pick to win that conference this year. I'm going under on Oklahoma. I think their over-under is 9.5. That'd be a 4-game improvement from last year. That seems like a lot. But so that's all. Wanted to throw that out. And apparently, I've got a seat heater.
And I love the fact that someone in the Twitch chat room brought up that seat heater is the perfect thing to put on the passenger seat to set the pizza down on.
Wow. I never thought of that.
Never in a million years. I just had an explosion right inside my brain there.
Now, usually, though, how far of a drive is it? It's only a few minutes, right? You go to your local place to get it. Who picks up a pizza that's more than 15 minutes from home?
Nobody.
Right.
Occasionally I have my one spot here that is about at that limit.
Okay.
I was going there when I moved. But the pizza's that good.
There you go. Now, I will say, I don't know if you've ever done this before. I've been so riveted to a game that I've run the pizza into the house and said, I'm going back to the car. I'll see you when it's done.
I've never done that. When I go and I watch the game, I will choose watching over listening.
But the play-by-play guy said, quote, for the love of God. You don't hear the big fella referenced very often, okay? Especially by the play-by-play guy. Fans, maybe the analyst, Espo getting all worked up at a Lightning game. I could see Espo going, for the love of God. But, I couldn't see Michigan doing it. Yeah. The Leafs booth was becoming unglued Saturday.
There's a reason.
I know.
They just got beat by the Florida Panthers.
Well, they hadn't lost yet. But they knew deep down. They knew. It's the Leafs. They knew they were not going to win.
First time when the Heat and Panthers, they've had with the same city in the conference finals. It's happened before. First time they've ever clinched on the same night.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And the Panthers have got to be thrilled. They're starting the series on the road. How many road games do they won in a row now? 6. Won games 2, 5, and 7 in Boston. Games 1, 2, and 5 in Toronto. Hell, they're 1 and 3 at home.
And I don't recognize the guy that's coaching them. Paul Maurice behind the bench. I'm just sitting back here having coffee, letting the guys play. Who is this guy?
You dealt with him a lot more than I did, but I remember when Carolina came down to Southwest Florida, for training camp the one year, and he actually gave me 20 minutes. And so in that way, he was very cordial, but he was as serious as the proverbial heart attack.
Absolutely. And he is as loose as a goose. They're playing that way. And the Florida Panthers are keeping on. And now they get the Carolina Hurricanes for a chance to go dance with Lord Stanley.
And 173 people are going to watch this series, but it's going to be very entertaining. Very entertaining.
Lots of hitting.
Yes. Both teams like to. And both teams are fast. In fact, this might be the first time Florida goes, I think the other guys might be faster.
But Florida has better goaltending.
They do right now. They do right now. The clock has not struck midnight for Bob.
Not even close. He's getting, if anything, David, he's getting stronger. Because his performance in the game Friday night was spectacular.
I mean, Toronto had a bunch of high chance opportunities. Would they have 45, 46 shots on goal? I mean, yeah, it was terrific. For the love of God, can we get a break?
No, you cannot. And another year goes by, and Canada will be sitting on the sidelines for not even the Stanley Cup finals, but for the conference finals as well.
Right. For the final month of the hockey season, there's none of you left.
We could end up with the Kraken and the Golden Knights on one side, and the Panthers and the Hurricanes on the other.
And the hockey would be fantastic.
Right. And there's a chance you're going to get Lakers Celtics on the other side.
And the USFL is going to outrate it. But I will say the hockey will be more entertaining. I believe it'll be more entertaining than the hockey conference finals will be more entertaining than the NBA conference finals. I said entertaining. Far more people will be interested in the NBA. I mean, you got the Lakers and the Celtics in it after all.
We'll see about that, because I think you could get two lengthy series in hoop.
I hope so. I hope so. By the way, I'm taking Denver. I know you got the Lakers. I'm taking the Nuggets.
Yeah, Boston and LA are playing in the finals. It's already been determined, David. I don't know what the hell you're thinking. This is done.
Okay. All right. Is John Morant allowed to show up? Is he even allowed to attend games anymore?
Miller and Moulton. Rashad Phillips coming up in the 8 o'clock hour right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around and get
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. North Florida catch made the top 10 plays from yesterday.
Oh, really?
Second baseman went out to center field, caught one over his head. Pretty nice catch. Play 6, I believe.
I know it's not official yet, but there's a hockey schedule out that says Game 1 Conference Finals, 8:00 Wednesday on ESPN. Well, on Wednesday, Turner's got the Heat and the Celtics. So, obviously they're going to stagger it where one's got hoops on a given night, one's got hockey. So that seems as if it has to be Panthers Canes Wednesday, Friday, and then Sunday at 3:00, by the way, on ABC is when Game 3 of Carolina, Florida would be. The Heat will play Sunday night at home, I think at 8:30. That's going to be the go-to time for these conference finals, 8:30. So for the South Florida sports fan, you'll get your hockey on ESPN. You'll get your hoops on Turner. Turner's got the Stanley Cup Finals this year, They alternate every year. 7-year deal, they alternate. I've yet to watch Air. I will, though.
10 seconds.
listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Third and final hour of Miller and Moulton on this Monday, at least along the network in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. And of course, for those of the 239, heck, we're just halfway home. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Rashad Phillips, talk all things NBA, coming up in a little more than 35 minutes' time. Boy, there's nothing to talk about there, Mark. Got nothing going on there. Game 7 yesterday where one team showed up and the other didn't. Got a guy wielding a gun again. Got the Lakers and the Heat doing their thing. Nothing to talk about in that league.
Boston and the Heat, the Lakers in Denver, and a gun in Ja Morant.
And if you've won an NBA title or gone to the finals in the last 5-6 years, basically, well, you're getting fired soon. Think about it. You go back, Nick Nurse, 2019 with he's out of a job. Budenholzer with Milwaukee, yeah, he's out of a job. Frank Vogel with the Lakers, yeah, he's not there anymore. Hell, best record in the league just last year. Monty Williams in Phoenix. No, he's gone. What is this, the NHL? Remember, you used to talk about for years, I mean, the lifespan of a NHL head coach was like that of a box of chiclets.
Yeah, if you made it 3 years in the NHL, you were doing something. That seems to be where the NBA is heading right now.
Man. But are you okay with it? Like, do you think, in Milwaukee?
No, I hate it, David. I absolutely despise it. I'm not surprised by it, but I hate it. How can you take a team in Milwaukee's instance to do what they have done, to come out of the complete abyss and be a relevant team again, and we're going to have one bad playoff run, we're done with the coach? Ishbia over at Phoenix wants to put his stamp on his team. He's the new owner. He paid $4 billion. His team gets ousted earlier than he expects. Boom, new coach.
And I know that there are 4 Phoenix Suns fans listening. The one thing that I am curious about there, Devin Booker has yet to speak. Devin Booker's like Mr. Media Friendly on that team. People who have covered that team for the length of his career are like, I've never seen him not talk to the media ever. Win, lose, off day. And they got beat when they get beat. Thursday night or what have you. He stormed out of the arena, which I'm fine with, by the way. I'm fine. Everybody, the media makes a big deal. Listen, okay, for whatever reason, no, I'm not talking today. But the next day, they get together around the locker as they start cleaning it out. Yeah, he didn't talk. He said, nope, not talking. And then they saw him walking upstairs with the general manager. So I'm just wondering what Devin Booker's role in all this is, because he's obviously not happy. And speaking of not happy, Mark, you've been looking at the text line all day, and I'm just curious how much of it are Philadelphia sports fans that are just irate and disconsolate all at the same time.
Philadelphia fan has come out of the woodwork today. They are angry. They vaulted past, upset and went right to mad, angry, blow this whole thing up. A lot of all capital. A lot of yelling in the text.
We just got one in the Twitch chat room. All caps. Get rid of everyone. I have to admit, I don't know if you felt this way. You said you watched every second of it. I'm sure Felipe watched a bunch of it. Boston was playing really well, and Tatum was going off. And it was a 3-point game at the half. And there was a part of me that thought, I think Philly's kind of rope it. Embiid hasn't found his stride yet. Harden hasn't found his stride yet. They're down 3, because I'm thinking, that maybe this is the hottest Tatum's going to be. He had whatever he had at the half. Thinking, he's probably going to cool down a little bit in the second half. And then again, maybe not. But there was a part of me during like that 12, 13-minute halftime in which I'm thinking, maybe Philly's in a really good spot here. Only down 3.
Yeah, it never felt that way to me.
Okay.
It felt as if they had him at arm's length, and somehow Philadelphia, every time it would get to 8, they'd make a bucket or 2, but they weren't going.
Well,
And
obviously,
Boston defensively was pretty good, and then they ratcheted up the defense in the third quarter, along with not missing a shot.
Now, obviously, by the first TV timeout of the third quarter, whatever thoughts I had, well, I don't have them anymore. But I was just kind of wondering whether or not at halftime you thought they're in control, or whether or not you're thinking, the Sixers may have weathered the storm here, ham and egg this pretty well.
I thought Boston had it at halftime just because Tatum had 25, 7 and 4. He was shooting like 56%. Whenever he's playing like that, they don't lose.
I just didn't know if he'd do it again. And guess what? He did it again.
Yeah, Tatum is like that.
He obviously found himself in the fourth quarter of Game 6 and has not, didn't let up at all last night, because it was something to watch. That third quarter, just the shots going in, and in fact, it's like the announcers were like calling them going in before they were going in.
Right. I really hate to bring this up again for the Philly fan out there, but they could have had him. Instead, they drafted Markelle Fultz.
Oh, please. They also had Jimmy Butler.
Yep.
They had Jimmy. Now, I will say the general manager who made that blunder was replaced. That was Elton Brand.
Yep.
Elton Brand, for whatever reason, they were still enamored with Simmons, who hadn't fallen apart yet. And they gave the money to Tobias Harris. And for whatever reason, Jimmy Butler kept calling him up going, "Hey, do you have an offer for me?" And they're like, well, we'll get to you. Jimmy's like, Miami's made me a really nice offer, 4 years and everything. Which, by the way, does that mean he's a free agent? Or did they redo his deal?
No, they extended him.
Okay, good.
Yeah, great.
Because A, want to keep him for as long as possible, and B, he'd be in line for a raise.
Oh, yeah.
Philadelphia scored 10 points in the third quarter.
Yes, they did, Mark.
That is really difficult to do.
Yes, they did. Remember, Friday night in the fourth quarter, they scored 13.
Right.
Here we go. Yep, here you go.
And Tatum outscored them in both of those quarters.
As a matter of fact, he did. You are correct, sir.
And I don't know, I know everybody wants to get on Doc for this, but Doc wasn't on the floor when they scored 10 in the third quarter and 13 in the fourth.
All right, but they went on an insane run and did not call a timeout till late.
I agree with that.
On a 9-0 run, you call timeout.
I agree with that. You just start, like, anytime Spo's trying to hang on to a lead, the Knicks would score 2 buckets in a row, timeout.
Right.
As one of Felipe, behind the curtain here, one of Felipe's favorite things in life is to see Spo halfway out on the court. He's not yet called timeout. Sometimes he doesn't even signal timeout. He's just 20 feet onto the court. He makes eye contact with one of the officials like, you know what I want. All right. And he just turns around. Sometimes he doesn't even signal timeout. He's just 20 feet out on the court and he turns around, puts his back to his players, like, get in the damn huddle.
Right. The refs are getting ready to run the break.
Exactly.
Stop. Oh, timeout.
The other team's running down court going, wait, has there been a timeout call? Right.
Yeah, he doesn't waste his energy. He just wags his finger. Timeout.
Who do you blame for Philadelphia? Doc, Embiid, Harden. I mean, if you were to put the blame on one, where do you put it?
Well, it's a great question. Embiid blamed, we haven't had enough time together yet.
Really?
Yes, that's what he said afterwards. Now, he also had a quote that came off a little awkward, and he's getting destroyed for it. And you can go see it in its entirety. But a big chunk of the quote was, hey, James and I are only 2 people. It's 5-on-5 out there. And he basically was giving the impression that they need more help. Yeah, when you two combined for 24 points in a game 7, that's not the answer. And you weren't much better in game 6 either. Okay. Even if you're not wrong. Okay. And you could look at Philly and go, I don't know, I think they got 4 good players and I don't really like anybody else. That could be a fair assessment. But I don't know. You were 4 minutes away from the conference finals. But Mark, listen, we all know the examples. There are teams that stick it out. I mean, that's what Denver's done, by the way. Denver made a conference final 3 years ago in the bubble. Nobody even thinks that happened. But the last 2 years, they've had guys hurt in the playoffs. It's been Jokic and nobody else. They've gotten bounced in the first round both times. Now, it's easier to get players in other cities than it is Denver, but Denver kept keeping on. They just keep trying to add, another complementary part. Milwaukee, they had Giannis, okay, and they had Middleton, and they made a big deal for Drew Holiday. And then they're just trying to help around the edges. I mean, if you're Philadelphia, I know the fans want to fire everybody, trade everybody, let's start over, let's be an expansion team. I know. Is Embiid right?
To a degree, but they've got to play. I mean, you got to have more out of Embiid. I will say they missed a ton of open. They got guys open for 3-pointers the whole game. And they missed.
They were lousy. They were. Now we could argue whether or not the guys are, quite frankly, good enough to hit them. The team that lost to Toronto 4 years ago when Toronto won the title, that second round series, the tied in game 7 and the ball bounced the right way for Kawhi and Toronto won by 2. And Toronto goes on to win the title. And so Philly fans were thinking, hey, that's how close we were. That team had Jimmy Butler and J.J. Redick. Neither one brought back.
That team was the Philly team in this Joel Embiid process era that I think had the best shot to win the title. 100%.
Totally. Think about it. They had a shooter and a dog.
Yeah, because they don't have a shooter on. They don't have a shooter on this team.
Tobias Harris is their quote-unquote shooter. And
right.
So, not to get too bogged down in X's and O's and what have you, but just, is there something to, hey, winning is hard. And yeah, this sucks, but we're going to keep on keeping on. Philly sports fan of a certain day, the Phillies couldn't win, couldn't beat the Reds and Dodgers. You know what they did? They went out and got Pete Rose. And he just kept knocking on the damn door. I mean, I don't know. What do you do?
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa Filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa Filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa Filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I'll give you a trade. And I'm serious. If Harden picks up his player option for next year, which is like 35, there's some thought that he won't, and he'll be a free agent and try to get a 4 or 5 year deal somewhere. But if he picks up his player option for next year, which he has to do by the end of June, Mark, would you trade Chris Paul for James Harden? Salaries are almost identical. Paul, the Suns have to decide by, I think, the same day that Harden has to decide as to whether Harden keep, his contract and whether the Suns are going to pick up Paul's full contract. He's got 1 year left at $31 million. Like 13 or 15 of it's guaranteed. So they can get out.
I wouldn't trade for Chris Paul because he doesn't stay healthy.
Well,
That's what I was going to say.
That's
Okay.
my biggest concern, David.
I understand totally. But Harden may just, if you're Philadelphia, you just going to lose him for nothing?
It's hard to trade. I will say, though, love him or hate him, Harden plays.
Yeah, but if he plays like crap.
Right.
I know. And Chris Paul, you're right.
That is interesting. But I don't know.
It's a true point.
What difference? I know, but what
which
difference?
Harden is not.
But Harden also provides scoring.
I know. He's a little younger.
Paul.
Well, depends.
By adding Paul, you make Maxi's role bigger.
Yeah,
which could help them.
Right. You also save $5 million.
Right. I'll think about that one.
Because Phoenix is thinking seriously about moving on from Chris Paul, taking the $15 million cap hit and just letting him go. But I'm wondering if Harden picks up his option, then they each would have 1 year left on their deals. Do you trade them for each other?
Logic Man goes, I don't want these fossils. That's why you got Maxi.
Clean house. So you want to be crap for 5 years again?
You want the process all over? You want to reprocess this?
Didn't you just do that?
Oh boy. Joel Embiid is the only MVP in NBA history who has never made the conference finals.
All right. Dismiss. So Thursday in Rochester, New York, the high is 58.
20 seconds.
Friday at 72. Saturday, 68 in rain. Sunday, 63 in rain. What the hell are they doing putting a tournament in upstate New York in May?
10 seconds.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Rays and Yankees split 4. Tampa Bay with a 4-game lead on the Orioles. They're 8-5, 1/3 of the way through this 39-game stretch in which they, well, put it this way, when the stretch started, they were playing teams who all had a winning record. By the time the Rays take the field against the Mets tomorrow night, the Mets no longer have a winning record. They got a big payroll, just not a winning record. But they're 8-5, 1/3 of the way through this stretch, after people criticize the Rays because they beat a bunch of last place teams to start the year, blah, blah, blah.
The Pirates will also have a losing record by the time that this whole trip's done.
Right. Remember when this stretch started, the Pirates had the second best record in baseball? They're not even in first place anymore, are they?
No, they are not.
What are they, 2-3 games above 500?
You got it.
Don't know if they'll make it to Memorial Day above 500, but that's all right. The fans weren't showing up when they were hot and in first place, so
maybe the fans knew a little something, David.
Maybe, but just Rays, a bunch of injuries to their pitching. I don't know. And not only that, their second baseman and Brandon Lau, he's hitting $180. I don't know what Cash is doing, hitting them 4th or 5th every night. I really don't. I mean, I know you stand behind a guy and what have you, but can't you move him down to 7th or 8th in the lineup while standing behind the guy? I mean, you're still putting him in the lineup. I mean, Mark, isn't this like a guy in hockey who's on, number one winger, on your number one line, and he's just not scoring? I mean, you don't pull him from the lineup, but can't you move him down to the 3rd line?
Yes. And you probably should. I don't necessarily, the analogy is a little off for me because your first line winger is your first line winger. You don't really move them off that line. But when you have 9 spots in the batting order, why you're batting someone who's hitting $180 at 4th doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. And, when you really take it to them, you move them to 5th. Oh, well, good. That's great. All right. Let's see. Who are they going to pitch to? Franco or Rosarena or the hole the size of a desert in the lineup? But I digress. But anyway, Rays off today. They're in New York to play the Mets. So they got a day in the city. They played an afternoon game yesterday. I'll bet they went out of town last night, don't you think? Went at it hard.
Dinner in bed would be my guess in the middle of a road trip.
Okay.
Lots of sleep.
All right.
Besides, they don't go out anymore. You know what they probably did? They probably had their Xboxes with them and they played video games.
Okay.
It's a different world today, David.
I know. You and I, hell, we'd be just staggering back to the hotel. Today's an off day, for goodness sake.
That's a go night.
That's darn right. You made a good point during the break. This is PGA Championship week.
Rochester, New York's where they're playing this thing, right?
Yep. Famed Oak Hill. It's a great course.
Wonderful. It's going to be 58 degrees on Thursday. That's the high. 58.
Hello.
72 is the high on Friday, so it'll be a beautiful day in the afternoon. 57 in the morning for those teeing off. Oh. And then Saturday, a high of 68, a low of 53 with a 50% chance of rain. Sunday, 63 for your high, 46 for your low with a 40% chance of rain.
Mark, are you saying they shouldn't put a major in upstate New York in May?
When they opened the PGA up to all of these new courses, I didn't think Rochester, New York was where they were thinking. David, I thought Texas, Florida, some places that never get majors would have an opportunity to host a major.
Now, in fairness, they are going to some of those places, but yeah, this is right on the edge, Mark. This is right on the edge. It's supposed to be spring.
What the hell are you on the edge of in May? And you're on the edge of the chances of snow.
Well, that is true. My wife got her master's from Syracuse, and she got it, I believe, the first weekend of May. And we were walking and it was a beautiful day. It was like in the 60s. Okay. Sun was out. It was really nice. That was because 2 days earlier, there was a foot of snow. So we were walking past the big mounds of snow on this beautiful day. But so that's what I mean. It's right on the edge. Could be like, Friday. It's sunny, 72. It's like, it's spectacular. And then it could, be rainy and 54. It's
So it's going to look a lot like a British Open this weekend.
Okay. So all I know is the LIV guys are playing well. The big names on the LIV tour, we had a Cam Smith sighting. We had a DJ sighting. Hell, we even had a Bryson DeChambeau sighting.
Never heard of him.
Remember him? It was only 3 years ago he won the U.S. Open? We were talking about him, that outside of Tiger and Phil, he was like the third biggest draw in the sport.
He really was, too.
Love him or hate him?
Hitting the bomb drives with arrogance to match.
Wasn't it Bay Hill? They got the one par 5 that's the big swooping dogleg right over the water, and he went for the green from the tee on a par 5. Now, he didn't put it on the green, but he was like pin high just to the right. He cleared the water on his tee shot on a par 5. He was entering the long drive contests. Remember him? This is not that long ago, It's not like I'm talking about Nicklaus and Palmer here. Or Tiger, for that matter. Is that too soon?
No,
okay.
Never.
All right.
But DeChambeau, his last stint on tour did not go that well.
No?
He hasn't played a major worth a damn in quite a while.
No. No, he has not. So for whatever it's worth, the LIV was in Tulsa.
Big crowds.
Yeah. Actually, their last 3 events, 2 of them overseas, and then good crowds in Tulsa.
Right. They were in Singapore had good crowds. Australia had really good crowds.
Yeah, Australia, they were just...
and Tulsa starved for any type of big time event. They came out in droves for Live Golf.
So the big names anyway have been playing well lately, whether it be from the Masters, then a couple of LIV events and now the PGA. So, we'll see. Listen, the ratings for the Masters were great. Better than they had been in recent years even. I think the whole LIV PGA Tour, the fact that Koepka and Phil, the fact that the LIV had guys on the first page of the leaderboard, if you're into golf, that was intriguing.
Because people are rooting against them. You and I are the only 2 people in the world that are somewhat neutral over Live Golf.
Correct.
So we follow it and are paying attention to it. I don't know anybody that roots for a Live golfer. I know a lot of people that want them all to finish in last every time they show up to these events.
Curious if they felt that way down the stretch about Phil. It's easy to root against him when he's having trouble breaking 80. Now, all of a sudden, when he's, firing him at the sticks and he's climbing up the leaderboard, is there a part of you that's tapping you on the back of the head going, you used to root for this guy? It is Augusta, after all. What do you say? One for the old timer? No?
I don't see it. I've never witnessed anything quite like this in sports where, because of this tour, these guys are just public enemy number 1 through however many are out there, 1 through 48 or whatever it is, 54, whatever it is. They are just anti-Live Golf.
But PGA Championship week, the big off-the-course story, will Spieth play? He withdrew from the Byron Nelson last week with a right wrist injury. He needs the PGA to complete the career Grand Slam. Miller and Moulton. Rashad Phillips next.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth. that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Clark Browning, I see what you did there. That's interesting, DC. So when Damon left the Red Sox for the Yankees, in terms of traitorous acts, that's how you view this? Well, that was different. That's what's his face who owned Indy. He started up his new league, and then drivers had to make a decision. They didn't want to go to the IRL, but he wasn't letting you race in the Indy 500 if you didn't join the IRL. So Mark, for the record, home teams in the NBA are 44-24. So, home teams are really starting to dominate. Meanwhile, home teams in the NHL are 31-41.
Crazy.
He also crashed himself, Michael. He was in the lead.
Yeah, I know. Even Hendrick, though, came out and, he's getting it from the owners now.
Mm-hmm. Well, you wreck a car, it costs money.
Fans love him, though.
Yeah, they do.
There's no in between on this guy. That's for sure.
Ryan McGee said it last week. Been covering the sport a long time. The guys where it's one guy against the world, the one guy ends up doing really well. Yeah, well, I could see why they'd hunk you off. No, he screwed up. He shouldn't have done it. Shouldn't have been worried about it.
And I don't even know Live Golf exists because I can't watch it.
Some CW channels yesterday, because it went to a playoff, they pulled away. The golf took a long time. And in some markets, they went to sitcoms and what have you. There was one market where they missed the last 4 holes.
Rashad's on hold.
I see it too, JS. I just don't. I don't have Comcast, so therefore I don't get it. I don't get it with DirecTV. It's not part of the package.
A rain delay and a playoff, yeah.
$30 seconds. Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes until the top of the hour. Our final segment along the network in Lake City and surrounding areas, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, and Venice. The bonus hour for the 239 is coming up. Longtime friend of the show, although it's been a while, but he's written a book, and there's lots to talk about. He's Rashad Phillips. You can follow him on Twitter at RP3Natural. RP3Natural. The book is Basketball Position Metric. Rashad, it's David and Mark. First off, thanks for your time. Secondly, what made you write it?
Oh, thanks for having me, guys. Hey, I've had a lot of time on my hands over the years, sitting back in my office and reflecting. And the older you get, the more you reflect on things, and you have a clearer view on life and perspective. And it kind of drove me to writing the book.
Well, you've been on this for a while, so this book has kind of been, I don't want to say a life work, Rashad, but certainly a post-playing work, because you've always discussed how the positions of basketball are evolving.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just from, me kind of growing up with the game, I was 1 year old when they implemented the three-point line in 1979. So I felt like I've kind of grown parallel with the game of basketball. Not only as a player, but just as an observer. So it kind of gave me a lot of insight and intel to be able to write this book in the way I did.
Yeah, we were talking about this the other day, and we'll get to some of the things that we brought you on to talk about, but this is interesting. Obviously, Jordan's greatness can't be denied, but has Steph actually impacted the game more?
I would probably say yes, and here's why. And I think both players have impacted the game in different ways. I'll say that. But Steph has impacted the game to the point where it has been able to touch more people, because Steph Curry is a normal looking person, right? He's 6'3", can't really fly out, he can't jump really. He's not the fastest, but what he can do is he can shoot the three-point shot. And that has given every kid that wants to play basketball identity to be able to shoot threes like Steph Curry. Michael Jordan, on the other end, was a person that you had to have certain measurables to be able to even try to duplicate what he was doing, and that's flying over defenders, jumping from the free throw line. Like, that's things that, only a special amount of people can do. But what Steph Curry has done has shown, like, hey, if you can master this 3-point shot, you can change the way basketball is being played. So in that regard, I would say yes.
All right, just in terms of the game, what do you then do when you have a game like Philly did yesterday where they couldn't make the 3-ball? It can make the game look ugly, and it can make a team look bad really quickly, can't it, Rashad?
Yeah, it's the old saying, you live and die by the 3-point shot. And unfortunately, that happened to Philadelphia, and it happened to the Golden State Warriors against the Lakers. When the way the game is played today, it's such a jump shot oriented type of game where everything is predicated on if the jumper is falling. That opens everything up. Opposed to, in my era, everything was about playing under the basket, close to the basket, taking high percentage shots, and then allowing your team to shoot jumpers after you get that inside established. But it's kind of flipped itself, and yesterday was a clear example of the jump shot not falling, the team really struggling.
Are the Lakers a little old school, though? I mean, they're not a good three-point shooting team. And, obviously between AD and LeBron's game is driving to the basket.
Absolutely. I mean, when you look at the entire landscape of basketball, the teams that are old school are now the outliers, right? Because everybody's shooting threes and, clearing out. But the Lakers went back to like a 90s style of basketball. Like, hey, we're going to pound the interior. We're going to take high percentage shot. We'll shoot a couple kick out threes if we have that. But we're going to be physical, and we're going to rebound the ball. And when you look at the coach, Darvin Ham, he's an old school guy. So, yeah, the Lakers are kind of an outlier in this instance in the way that they're playing the game right now.
Well, how do you see that series with Denver, with Jokic and his abilities? I know you love the big man that can do multiple things. So how do you see this series, Rashad?
This is going to be a tough series, man. I love both sides. I mean, I love Jokic. He's one of my favorite players. And I love LeBron as well. So I don't even want to pick a winner here, but I think it's going to go 7. And I think LeBron James, I think the Lakers may get it done. I just think that Anthony Davis is such an X factor in this playoff series and what he brings to the table as a hybrid post. I don't know if Denver will be able to kind of counteract that as much as I love Jokic and his ability to make everyone better. Denver plays the right way. And I think the Lakers, if barring any injuries on both sides, I think the Lakers can hold on.
By the way, both those teams unbeaten at home so far in the playoffs. So how big will a road win be in this series? And the Lakers, when they've won on the road, have won game ones, just like Miami. When Miami wins on the road, they win right away. So early in this series could be monster games in the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. We're talking NBA with Rashad Phillips. Okay, RP3 Natural is how you can follow him on Twitter. He's also authored a book, Basketball Position Metric. Basketball Position Metric may be a nice Father's Day item. Okay, we were talking about this a couple different times in the show today. What do you do with Ja? And we also brought up, Rashad, what can you do? Because the incident 9-10 weeks ago, that was with the team. That was traveling on the road. This was him by himself or with a buddy in a car. He wasn't doing anything illegal. We're assuming that that's a legal firearm. If he didn't do anything illegal, what can the league do to him?
They can't do anything technically, but they will make an example out of him professionally. So that's what's going to happen.
What do you mean?
Unfortunate, but it will be. I don't think that. I think he will be suspended probably half the season, and probably will lose some more endorsements and things of that nature. And it's just it's an unfortunate situation, with me personally knowing Ja and, knowing Ja since he was in high school. So, this is going to be one of those situations where they're going to make an example out of his bad decision.
What would you say to him right now? You know him. You've met him. What would you tell him? What advice would you give him right now, Rashad?
Slow down. Reflect. Reevaluate. And the one question I would ask is, how did you get here? How did you get to this point? Because once you go back and start reevaluating how you got to that point, it helps you understand what not to do to get back to that point. I think it really just comes down to the basic fundamentals of ethics, of really aligning yourself with your goals and what you're trying to accomplish in life. And I think when you do that, you can reposition yourself and get yourself back on track to your initial goals.
Rashad Phillips, sportstalk2319.com. Sportstalk2319.com is where you can see a lot of his work. You can also read it. Basketball Position Metric is his new book. Follow him on Twitter, RP3Natural, RP3Natural. Listen, we're marveling at what the Heat have done. Can they do it again? We kept thinking, well, they don't match up with Milwaukee. They're 1-5. Kept thinking, well, New York's bench could be the difference here and their size. Yeah, the Heat out-rebounded them and their bench was better. So now, Celtics are heavy favorites. What do the Heat do?
Continue to play Miami Heat basketball. And that's, being very stingy defensively, limiting the possessions, not allowing Boston to find a rhythm early, and letting Jimmy Butler be the guy. And that's what's helped them win from day one. So this is not me personally, just observing the game, I wouldn't go about it saying Boston is being a heavy favorite team. I wouldn't say that after what Miami just proven. I think this is an even match right here, and any team could win.
How much of advantage does Miami have with Spo? I mean, what he's been able to accomplish in this postseason, I don't know if he's the best coach in the league, if he's top 3, where you put him, Rashad, but he's done a masterful job so far. How much of an advantage does Spo give him in this series?
He gives them a heavy advantage. I mean, this is a guy who's won NBA championships, has won big games, and just really understands the climate of his own locker room. Anytime you've had success like that and had those reps at those big games, the favorite always goes to him. I don't think he gets enough credit for how terrific of a job that he's been able to do, no matter the roster construction. Over the years, he's probably the greatest, most underrated coach ever. He's kind of treading in those waters because nobody gives him credit. He doesn't win Coach of the Year like that, and he just kind of just moves along under the radar. And all of a sudden, here's his team again, and they're just playing collective great basketball. So he has a heavy advantage against the Celtics coaching staff because of what he's been able to do over the years.
And finally, for me, Rashad, your thoughts on coaches are definitely getting blamed for their team's postseason demise. I mean, Milwaukee and Phoenix, they played in the championship 2 years ago. Both those coaches have been fired. All right. Phoenix best record last year, Milwaukee best record this year. Do you agree with what you're seeing? Just your thoughts.
Yeah, I don't agree with it. But the NBA it's a business, and you have to blame someone, and that's the job they sign up for. When you sign up to be a coach at the professional ranks, you're probably going to take the fall before the players do. That's just what it is. You know, who are they going to blame in Milwaukee? They can't blame Giannis. They're not going to blame the players. You blame the coach first, you know, and then you blame the management first. It's always, you have to blame anybody but the player. So it's coach, it's management, then it's maybe owner. You know, it's like you have to check all these boxes before you get down to blaming the players. And that's what, you know, has happened thus far. I think with Phoenix is just they have a new owner. He has a new vision. He wants to bring in and hire his own people. So I do understand that from being in the position of leadership and being a CEO and running your own company. You kind of want to hire your own people and create a new environment. And I think with Monty kind of flaming out, both his teams flaming out 2 years in a row with blowouts, his bickering back and forth with their number one pick from 2019. I just think that they had an excuse to fire him, and they did.
He's Rashad Phillips. You don't have to create an excuse to buy his book, Basketball Position Metric. Make a nice Father's Day gift. Follow him on Twitter, RP3Natural. Rashad, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. All the best to you and the family.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Talk soon.
Rashad Phillips, kind enough to join us once again here on Miller and Moulton.
Writing books.
I know. As if he's not busy enough. Scouting players, owning and running a website. My free time.
You could hear the disappointment in his voice when talking about Ja.
Ooh, could you ever? Could you ever?
I think he edited what he'd really like to say for our program. I think it would be a little harsher than what he led on to.
The only point that we're trying to make is that disciplining Ja was really easy 9 weeks ago. He did what he did when he was with the team, even though it was a strip club. He was on the road with the team. Okay, it fell within the collective bargaining agreement. We have read over large chunks of the collective bargaining agreement during the show today, during commercial breaks. What he did over the weekend does not fall under the collective bargaining agreement. It doesn't. I agree, Mark. They're going to try to make an example of him. I don't even know if they can suspend him for a day.
Miller and Moulton, Tampa, St. Pete, Port Charlotte, Venice, Lake City. We'll do it again tomorrow morning. That bonus hour in the 239 is next right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. They're running from the Twitch chat room. Our numbers just dropped tremendously after the third and final hour. We were in the 80s. Now we're in the 70s, 60s.
10 seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
The bonus hour, Miller and Moulton on this Monday. A belated happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. Hope you had a great weekend. It's been very eventful in the sports world. May trying to follow in the steps of March and April and doing a hell of a job with the Heat and Panthers making it to their respective conference finals. Don't believe the Panthers' schedule's been released yet. We're of the belief, though, we saw one NHL TV schedule that was generic that talked about having conference final game 1 on Wednesday. I believe that would be the Carolina-Florida series. Also because ESPN apparently has the game, and Wednesday's a TNT night for hoops. So ESPN could do hockey on Wednesday because they're doing hoops on Tuesday and Thursday with the Lakers. So we'll see. It'll probably be announced later today. We think Sunday's going to be a big day in the South Florida sports scene. Could have the Panthers in the afternoon playing game 3 of their conference finals and the Heat at night playing game 3 of theirs.
Haven't heard whether or not they're barring anybody from North Carolina from buying tickets to this round.
Don't think so.
No?
No, don't think so. It's funny how that works. Mm-hmm. Do you ban folks from Boston?
Those JetBlue flights right to Lauderdale out of Raleigh.
No, you've been on about 100 of them. I think they're more worried about Boston fans climbing their way into, where the Heat play.
A little tougher there. The Heat have a fan base.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Okay. I know no one else is bringing this up, and I don't want to belabor the point. We all agree that Nike can get rid of Ja Morant's contract, right?
Right.
That the image is part of a contract when you sign on with a company, a sponsor. I don't believe image is part of the collective bargaining agreement with the NBA. He was not at a team event. He was not on team property. We are assuming, which I don't think is an unreasonable assumption, that Ja Morant's firearm is legal, as is his ability to own it. Now, we can get into, him being stupid, because the incident 9 weeks ago cost him $39 million, literally.
And with the rules in place of how many games you can play at 65, if he gets any sort of lengthy suspension, this could cost him another bunch of money.
Exactly. But we all know that, listen, if we're all running the NBA, most everybody listening is like, I'm going to suspend him. Yeah, right. Fill in the number of games, 25, 40, 50 a season, whatever. You're worried he's a thug. You're worried he's stupid. You're worried about something bad happening. You don't necessarily want him in your league right now. Okay, fair enough. What did he do wrong? Did he do anything illegal? If he did, the NBA can go nuts. There have been many gun incidents in the last 12 years off the court, away from the league. Players have been suspended between 4 and 10 games. And since this would be a repeat offense, my guess is they could probably throw a 20-game suspension at him with no problem if he had fired the gun in any way, unlawfully. We are the only people in the country right now bringing up this point, Mark.
Oh, I know.
And it's not like you and I are, I don't think either one of us is in the NRA. We're not huge gun advocates. But, we're just looking at sports, CBAs, where it says the commissioner can hand down discipline. if you didn't do, Mark, if you didn't do anything against the law during the offseason, what right do I have as a league to punish you?
I am just wondering that if there's something in the CBA that says conduct detrimental to the league. Usually commissioners have their double secret probation rules that they get to do whatever it is they want to do. And that's what I keep thinking, that there's something that Silver has in his back pocket. But if he doesn't, David, if I'm wrong and that there is not something along the lines of conduct detrimental to the league,
which is really vague,
that's what Silver will need. And then he would need the Players Association to not back Ja.
Yeah, and that's not going to happen. I mean, if you're, first off, it's a fairly strong Players Association. And secondly, you have to defend them. It comes with the job description. Because here's the other thing. I mean, let's listen, this is a bad look for the NBA Players Association if they have to defend Ja here. It is. But there are going to be other situations which may not be as bad a look. You know, this would fall under precedent here. This isn't the, malice in the palace here. That was an NBA game. This isn't Ja 9 weeks ago at a Denver strip club. He's with the team on a road trip. I mean, you and I both acknowledge the NBA is going to throw some kind of book at him. We're just trying to figure out, will it be legal?
And I think the whole conduct detrimental to the league, which is in there, I believe that's how isn't that how they got Dallas fined?
But that was, once again, that was something being alleged. That was illegal activity being alleged. That was sexual harassment. That was, the Knicks got that with Isaiah Thomas also. That went to court for good. He was found guilty. The Knicks were found guilty. I mean, Ja's been in the eyes of the law. Did Ja Morant do anything wrong?
I don't believe so.
Has anybody read anything about they're trying to pull him over and give him a summons for something?
Nope.
Now, listen, I don't expect 3 people to defend what he's doing. It's stupid. But I'm just trying to think, does the NBA have the right to discipline him? Don't you have to, quote, do something wrong? There's not a clause, and pardon my French, there's not a clause in the CBA that says dumbass, does it?
No.
Because if they did, they could do whatever they wanted to him. But
it would be a hell of a clause in the contract, the dumbass clause.
Yeah. Do you put that high up in the contract? Do you try to bury that somewhere? Or do you just actually want that prominent?
I think it's an addendum. It's its own thing.
Do you name it? A lot of times these rule changes and clarifications get named after somebody.
Well, in that case, you could name it after Isaiah Thomas.
I'll be curious. I don't expect anyone nationally to bring this up. They're going to fall lockstep in line with, the narrative. And listen, if I was the Memphis Grizzlies, I'd want nothing to do with them. Mark, you know me. If I had enough money to own an NBA team, I'd pay him to never wear the uniform again. I'm one of those guys. I would do it. I have no problem doing it, actually. No problem at all. I would try to get out of the contract. Okay. I would everything you're talking about, Mark, I would try to void the contract. And while I'm trying to void the contract, by the way, you ain't playing. It's my team. It's
that leads to a separate question in of itself. Whenever he gets suspended, is Ja Morant ever playing for the Grizzlies again?
Well, who's going to acquire him? Now, you could make the case, buying a depressed asset, that now would be the time to buy it. But usually teams don't put guys on the market when their asset's been depressed this much, et cetera, et cetera. But
makes you think. I wonder if he'd try to pull something off like that if he was in Miami.
No idea of knowing. But listen, look at his actions in the last 9 weeks. After the accident happened at the strip club, do you know what he did a month ago? Remember he got involved in that incident with a fan last summer?
It wasn't a pickup game, the teenager that he...
Right.
Is that the one you're talking about? Yeah, it was a pickup game last summer when he supposedly
beat up
a teenager.
Right. He sued the teenager. Last month, Ja Morant sued the teenager because Ja Morant knew that the bad press was going to cost him a spot on the All-NBA team. And so he wants damages. That was 5 weeks after the incident in Denver with the gun. What's that Maya Angelou line? Somebody shows you who they are the first time, believe it.
So while the NBA is in the conference finals, they have a Ja Morant problem on a lot of different fronts.
I'm just wondering, how bad will it look? Like, does it look bad, Mark? Like, let's just say you're the boss and you suspend me for X amount of time. And I go, yeah, there's nothing in the work guidelines that says you can. And I fight you and I win. Is that a bad look for you?
As the owner?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think in this case it would be a bad look for the owner.
So if by chance we're right, they're going to suspend him and the PA is going to go, yeah, look closely in the CBA. There's nothing in here that says you can do anything to him. And it takes a few months, but they win. You don't think that's a bad look for the NBA? Because I don't. I agree with you. I don't agree with you. They come down on the right side. If you know what I mean.
Right. They may lose, but ethically they look like they're doing the right thing.
Right.
So I don't see how they would lose by suspending him. I don't.
If you own the Grizzlies, when would he play for you again? Because I'm not playing around. He would not play for me all of next year. Don't care if I have to pay him the whole time. Don't care.
Yeah, he'd play for me right when the suspension's up. Is he my best player? Yeah.
Not only that, you get him on the court sooner, you can trade him sooner.
Miller and Moulton, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was a day when What's on Tap, 25 minutes away, right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill, the Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Son of a bitch. Why didn't that go through? Yes.
You got anything?
No, and I'm looking.
All right. I got something on McAfee and ESPN.
All right. I don't get why he's doing that. It's a lot of money he's throwing away.
We'll get into it.
$30 seconds. 10 seconds.
It's the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when our final thoughts and picks, although there's really only one big game tonight. All coming up. Hey, can I go national media? Can I?
Sure.
All right. There's a thing this week called the upfronts. That's when each network, I think they take a day. I believe ABC/ESPN's day is tomorrow. And it's usually in New York, although I think Fox sometimes does theirs in LA. And they throw a big event and say, this is our lineup coming up in the fall. These are our shows. And they bring all the stars of the network on stage. And, you know, they schmooze with the media. They feed them. They get them plowed, the whole deal. And
some
they try
great
to get
videos of the 70s when they did 70s and 80s that you can find online with bringing all the stars in that are really, really pitiful in a lot of different ways.
And they're also trying to appeal to advertisers, you know, get them fed and plowed and say, hey, come on, you want to, you know, this new 1 hour drama at 9 o'clock on Wednesdays, man, it's the next big thing. So I mentioned that because I think that will maybe be the timeline. The word is Pat McAfee's going to ESPN.
Right.
Which in and of itself is fascinating. Because who owns them again?
Disney.
Right. Now, it's not to say Disney doesn't have a movie division in which you're allowed to swear. But on their over-the-air TV networks, you're not allowed to swear. Mark, what does Pat McAfee do a lot of?
Curses like a sailor.
And McAfee has said publicly, yeah, I'm not going to change. It's who I am. I'm not going to edit myself. So that's number one. Number two, Mark, what's McAfee's current contract?
You all have the numbers better than I do, but it's a monster deal. I mean, he's getting all kinds of DraftKings money, right?
$30 million a year. To review, that's a 3 and a 0 annually with 2 commas. And the thought is, well, ABC, ESPN's not going to pay him the same amount of money. However, McAfee just became a dad. McAfee began walking away from DraftKings in the last 6 months, if he is to be believed, and he's so far been a pretty truthful guy publicly. He's kind of like, yeah, I'm working too much. My schedule's a little too crazy. I may have to slow down. I don't know that I can keep doing it the way I'm doing it and be a good dad and husband and what have you. Okay. So maybe he's willing to, work for less. Joe reportedly makes around 15. That's Joe Buck. Troy reportedly makes around 18. They just do games. Make the occasional PR appearance. That's it.
And occasional. I mean, they barely came out for the NFL schedule release. They kind of are the two guys in charge of the NFL on that network from a play-by-play standpoint.
Yeah. Troy did Good Morning America, and Joe did at night. He did the 4-letter network. Yeah. I think they're both going to be at Upfronts tomorrow in New York. And, they do NFL Live leading up to every game, and then they do the game, and that's it. Hey, Peyton doesn't do anything else. Peyton does his thing and his ESPN Plus stuff. Peyton doesn't do the car wash. He doesn't do all the talking head shows. Neither does Eli. Eli will occasionally do a show. Peyton doesn't do any of them. You become a star, you get to name your terms. So the first thing is, will McAfee take what he does to the 4-letter network? Don't you think it would have to be on Plus? You can't put him on ESPN radio.
Why not?
He's already said he's not going to change his vocabulary. What are you going to do? Just sit there? Okay, your job is to hit the dump button. I mean, what are you going to do?
But not change and then not swear. I mean, you cannot change and not curse.
Well, he has said he's not changing. He was asked it directly. He goes, I'm not going to edit myself. I am who I am. He also said, I know myself well enough. I'm not going to lie to you and say, I'll clean up my mouth. He goes, I'm not going to do it. Which is interesting, though, because he edits himself when he did Game Day last year.
Correct. And he refueled Game Day. That show had slipped.
Their ratings were very good last year, whether it was Pat McAfee or it's just college football. But the ratings were excellent on both pregame shows, by the way. Fox pregame had a hell of a year, too. Record-setting year. But Game Day had a really good ratings year last year. And, Mark, you were high soon. 2 weeks into McAfee's gig, you said, oh, he's making a difference with me. I'm watching because of him. McAfee's also reportedly said the show will remain free. I don't know how Disney gets their money back from you. So I'm fascinated by this. How's it going to work? Is he going to stop doing the show and he's just going to do TV? Is he going to do Game Day and NFL Live on Monday Night Football and the 8 Manning casts that they do? Is that it? Is he dumping the show? I don't think he is, because I don't think he wants to put his guys out of work.
Well, that's the other side. He's got that whole team. I mean, on air, off air, there's a few people that are employed by Pat McAfee.
And also we get into the whole, this is Disney going, at the very least, this is Disney being edgy. Disney has gone down certain roads before with ESPN. Some have worked, some have not. In a big way.
It would certainly breathe life into their radio network if they decided to put them on.
Oh, my goodness. Would it ever? There's 400 affiliates around the country, including the one that we're on now, that would do the happy dance. But he has said he's not cleaning up his mouth. Also, how does ESPN make the money? I mean, you got to figure he's not leaving for less than 20, right?
I wouldn't think so.
Okay. So how is ESPN going to make 25 million on Pat McAfee?
What a success story. Just a quick sidebar.
Oh,
what a success story.
He's a punter. He's a good one, but he was a punter in Indianapolis. Hello. Yeah.
Now he's doing Game Day, the wrestling. He's got his own show that kills it.
And he's going to walk away from a $30 million a year. And not only that, he walked away less than a year in. Signed a 4-year, $120 million deal. Less than a year in, he goes, this ain't working for me. I don't know what I'm doing next. I'll figure it out. Took down all the DraftKings logos off his show.
Is it DraftKings or FanDuel? Someone said FanDuel, whichever one
is
it is.
Is it FanDuel? My bad.
FanDuel. No, I was the one that said it wrong first. So I led you down that path.
So I'm just curious how this whole thing works. Because it seems as if A, he can't keep cursing, and B, the show can't be in free. One of the two. I totally get it if they're going to put him on Plus. He comes with an audience. It's like
and that audience, I think, would pay.
It's like Le Batard. It's like if Tucker Carlson ever comes back. Their audiences will find them. They will pay for their content.
And I will say the one thing I'd be curious about, and I still think the audience would come. There's a lot of that audience that doesn't like ESPN.
Right. And he's got apparently regular guests who are, he's got Shams for the NBA. He doesn't have Wojnarowski. He's got Schefter's biggest competitor over on NFL Network. That's the other thing. ESPN's going to be like, no, you got to go with our guys.
And he's going to be, I don't know what to tell you. These are my guys. This is who I'm going with.
Right.
Miller and Moulton. We'll see how it all plays out. The good, the bad, and the ugly is next on the Florida Sports Network. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Wow.
According to Jeremy Fowler, the Dolphins are signing defensive back Bryce Thompson from the Seattle Sea Dragons.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour is up, 16 until we're out of here. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. David Sampson on the show tomorrow. That we can promise. Working on others. Probably have a PGA Championship guest at the very least. So you got that. The reason, if you were with us last segment, that I mentioned the upfronts is that, Mark, if I'm ESPN and I'm going to spend the money that I'm spending with Pat McAfee, reportedly, I want to get that deal done today. I want them at upfronts tomorrow. It's a big deal in the network, business world. Should it be or not? I don't know. It's like the schedule release for the NFL. It's a BFD for networks. And if I'm ESPN and I'm shelling out the money that reportedly I'm going to shell them out, well, I want them at the upfronts tomorrow. So I don't know if he agrees to appear, even though the deal's not official, because I haven't even heard he's been re-signed for game day. Like, that was just a one-year thing. So that's why I'm wondering, does the upfronts, I believe ABC ESPN's day is tomorrow, if that causes this deal to happen in the next 12 hours.
Something to keep an eye on. That is for certain. Time now for...
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Another one. Not a lot today, Dave. A lot of little nuggets, if you will. Today, the second Kentucky Derby was ran. Vagrant wins in 2:38.
Well, obviously, we weren't doing the first Saturday in May.
No, 1876 is when that was. Big reason this show's around today, and we hope it's around a lot longer because of this portion of what happened there first. Today in 1905, Las Vegas was founded. 1912, Ty Cobb rushes a heckler at a New York Highlander game and is suspended. So before the Malice in the Palace, Ty Cobb was rushing hecklers in New York.
Sounds about right.
It does, doesn't it? 1928, Mickey Mouse makes his first ever appearance in the silent film Plain Crazy. Big day in David Moulton's life today, even though he doesn't know it. Today in 1940, Richard and Maurice McDonald opened their first McDonald's restaurant in San Bernardino, California.
Oh, God bless them.
1948, Eddie Arcaro wins the second leg of the Triple Crown, winning the Preakness Aboard Citation.
Who was the last Triple Crown winner until Secretariat.
Correct. 1953, in his first world heavyweight title defense, Rocky Marciano KOs former champ Jersey Joe Walcott in the first round at Chicago Stadium. 1973, Nolan Ryan's first no-hitter as the California Angels beat the Kansas City Royals.
That's okay. If you missed it, you had plenty of time. He threw his seventh one 18 years later.
Today in 81, David, we were all glued to the television because the Harlem Globetrotters on Gilligan's Island airs.
Must see TV.
Today in 1990, the recently passed Peter Klima scores in the third overtime period as Edmonton beats Boston. It was the longest game in Stanley Cup Finals history.
In the fog, right? Wasn't that game delayed because of fog or a power outage? Something. Not only to go 3 overtimes, there was like a 45-minute delay.
Today in 91, President H.W. Bush takes Queen Elizabeth to a ball game. They would see the A's in the Orioles.
Come on, Liz. Let's go.
Today in 2016, Jason Day goes wire to wire at the Players. He was the world's #1 player. He just won again yesterday for the first time since, 2018, right?
Right. 5 years and like 2 weeks. Poignant. He was really close with his mom. His mom died a little over a year ago. Long battle with cancer. He wins on Mother's Day. He's an emotional guy. It was a neat scene.
It was funny that he wasn't even sure he won at the end of it, because there was a player putting for eagle, and when he missed the putt, he kind of looked around the room and he's like, "That's it, right?"
See, when you haven't won in a while, they have to explain it to you. No, man, it's over.
It's over. And a year ago, The Who returned to Cincinnati for the first time since the concert in December of 1979, where 11 concertgoers were killed when the doors were opened. Those born today that are no longer with us: Ken Venturi, Madeline Albright, and Roger Ailes. Those that are still with us celebrating birthdays: Brian Eno, the great record producer and part of Roxy Music, is 75. George Brett is 70. Dan Patrick is 67. Melly
Really?
Mel.
Hold on, really?
Yeah.
DP 67, huh?
Yeah.
I'll be damned.
Melly Mel, 62. John Smoltz is 56. Emmett Smith, 54. Desmond Howard, 53. Ray Lewis, 48. Ryan Lee, 47. Josh Beckett's 43. And Andy Murray's 36. What did I miss?
I was just have a question. Is the name Melly or Mel?
It's Melly Mel from Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. Come on, David.
Come on. I'm having a little fun with you.
Come on.
Well, Ebony and Ivory went number 1 on this day in 82.
And all I can think of is Piscopo and Eddie Murray doing the bit.
Piscopo is the chairman of the board, right?
Yep.
Oh, boy. So I thought that was worth mentioning.
And I know, because you were thinking the same thing I was.
Damn right I was. Damn right.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Florida for the good, Alachua County, where deputies reported of an injured hawk on the roadway. When they got there, they realized that the hawk had a snake coiled around its neck and wing. Wow. The 2 officers used the billy club to hold the snake's head down as he untangled its body from the hawks. Both the hawk and snake come out unscathed.
Well done, officers. Well done.
The bad could really be a good, and it could have very much been an ugly. I don't know if you saw this story, David, in Fort Pierce. 13-year-old girl, Ella Reed, doing a little surfing. She was attacked by a shark.
Oh, man.
She ended up with around 20 stitches after being bitten in the stomach, arm, finger, and the top of her knee. She did throw a couple of punches to the shark's snout to fend off what she claimed to be a bull shark, about 5 to 6 feet long. And like the Floridian that she is, she's never been afraid of the ocean. And even after this encounter, she plans on getting right back in the water. Yeah, not me.
No, man. Get her a pool. Get her a membership somewhere.
We go to Oklahoma for the ugly, where police heard cries for help in a grassy, wooded area of a farm. They could hear the faint cries in the distance. That's a person, one of the officers said to the other in the video that's been shared from a Facebook post of the police department. They thought maybe it was a person trapped under farm equipment as they raced out, hearing the cries for help. Turned out it was a goat. Farmer said he had 2 male goats in the barn. He took out one and he wasn't happy. And the goat cried enough to make it sound like a human being and bring the police over. So we've saved a goat, a shark, a snake, and a hawk, all in today's good, bad, and ugly.
Wow. Brought to you by the ASPCA. Yeah. Wow. Hey, speaking of goats, have you heard what some of the Lakers players have been doing to LeBron all year? Because, in
Right.
this generation of NBA, he's their GOAT. And so apparently, like when he's in the locker room, what have you, some of them start making goat sounds. Apparently he's okay with it. Well, he doesn't always have a sense of humor, so that's good. Some team bonding there. I will say Friday night, 38-year-old looked about 32. He was really good. I know he can't play like that every night. We know, but man, once or twice a series over 2 weeks, he can still be the best guy on the floor. Doesn't matter who he's playing against either. It's pretty remarkable for 38.
Did you guys see the puppy prediction corgi that was trending with that series?
No.
So
was it the one that was making the shots?
Right. So on TikTok, there was a prediction corgi that was shooting shots into 2 trash cans with the Lakers and Warriors logo on it. And going into game 6, it had predicted the outcome of every single game in a row. And he had the Warriors coming back from a 3-1 deficit and beating the Lakers.
Uh-oh.
So going into game 6, people were like, that dog better not be right. And very bad dog he was. Mark just dropped his glasses.
By the way, speaking of coming back from a deficit, if you're the Blades, you need to end this tonight. You were up 3-0. You were going to overtime in game 4. Jacksonville scored Friday night. Jacksonville whooped you Saturday night. Next thing you know, game 6 tonight in Jacksonville. And game 7 would be tomorrow. So it's like, okay, this was fun. This was cute. We need to stop this now.
Damn right. I don't think the Everblades have ever blown a 3-0.
No, they definitely haven't. You and I would have remembered that. I mean, that's happened. It's only happened 4 times in the NHL, but I don't think it's happened a whole lot in the ECHL either. So, all right. Just take care of business, boys. I will say Jacksonville wins tonight. I'm going tomorrow.
You'll make game 7, but not game 6, huh?
No. Nope. First off, after the jinx I was for FGCU baseball this weekend, please, I go Friday night. Not only do they lose, Brian Ellis has his 117-game getting on base consecutively streak snapped. He was in the on-deck circle in the 9th when the final out was made, a line drive diving catch by the third baseman. So Ellis couldn't have a 5th at bat. It's a beautiful night, too. 80, breezy. They sell beer at the game, so it was glorious. So then, I'm coming back for Saturday. It's an afternoon game. It's a little hotter, but that's okay. Did I mention they sell beer? All right. Yeah, they get shellacked again. They scored a bunch of runs late to make it close, but they lost 11-7. My wife says to me Saturday night, you going Sunday? I go, hell no. I think Toe will end our friendship if I show up.
And sure enough, they won in convincing fashion on Sunday.
Totally. So with that in mind, I'm staying away from the Blades.
But you'll go tomorrow for game 7?
Well, yeah, if they've lost 3 in a row, then forget all mojo. Okay. I mean, come on. You can't blame me if they've blown a 3-0 series lead. At this point, we're throwing all hands on deck, Mark. They lose tonight. Game 7, they need all the help they can get. I have to see if I still have something Blades so I could wear. I love wearing the enemy territory stuff.
You actually have Blade stuff?
I don't have a jersey, but I think I have a shirt or a golf shirt. I have no idea if it fits. I haven't worn it in a while, but I'm pretty sure in the back of the closet. This just didn't, Mark. I don't throw out clothes. My wife will occasionally just go through my closet and a third of it will disappear. But I don't throw out clothes because, Mark, I am convinced one day I'm going to lose the weight and get back into those clothes. Exactly.
I resemble those remarks.
So I don't think she got rid of the Blades. I'm going to look for it.
Just to be a blankety blank.
Well, no. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I don't know anybody there.
Right. But you'll be there by yourself wearing Blade stuff just so the 10 to 20 diehards are going to come by and go, the hell is that shirt?
It's a Blades. Go Blades. Funny thing is, I actually know one of the owners of the Iceman, too. Friend of the family. Anyway, Rays and Marlins are not playing today. There's 12 games in the majors. There's only 6 teams not playing tonight. Rays and Marlins are 2 of them. We got no NBA tonight. Western Conference Finals getting underway tomorrow. Eastern Conference Finals getting underway Wednesday. But we do have a Game 7 tonight in Dallas. 8 o'clock, 4-letter network. The Kraken and the Stars. Hey, they've already won 1 Game 7 on the road. They went to Denver, took out the reigning Stanley Cup champions. Who says they can? They scored 4 on Ottinger in 24 minutes the other day. Don't underestimate the Kraken.
I'm rooting for the Kraken. I think Dallas gets it done, David.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I am rooting for the Kraken.
Miller and Moulton. David Sampson on the show tomorrow. Hope you can join us then right here. Miller and Moulton. Where else? The Florida Sports Network. Have a great day.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa